Futures making a case for positive territory right now, coming on the back of a bit of a gap to the downside this morning ahead of. We are expecting comments, at least, from Fed Chair Powell any moment, really. He's supposed to be speaking at an event in Washington this morning starting at 8:30 Eastern, so we'll keep our eyes open for anything that comes of that. Lots to discuss this morning on the earnings front as we roll towards the biggest names of the week. Keep in mind, Tesla coming up, Alphabet coming up. This morning we get GM to the downside. $1 billion is what tariffs have cost GM in their current quarter. They're still pointing at north of $5 billion on the year. That's an interesting look. We'll talk about GM coming up. Obviously, Tesla back on everyone's mind as well. I mean, not so much Tesla, but SpaceX with a headline this morning. Trump considering this Golden Dome contract and maybe taking it away from Elon and SpaceX. So Tesla chopping around here in the pre-market. It is a little bit higher on the morning. Coca-Cola, another one with earnings out this morning. They are going to make sugar, not with corn syrup. They're going to make a new product with sugar coming on the back of what Trump told them to do. So it's not going to be a replacement, but they're going to come out with a new product. So, I mean, why not?
Which is what we suspect.
It's free marketing. I mean, it's a good idea.
And it's good. The health kick, everybody's doing the health kick these days, Brendo.
Is sugar healthy? I
don't know. Cane sugar, maybe? I don't
know. Healthier than corn syrup, I guess?
Probably a little bit better. There's a lot to talk about today, guys. Circle getting a downgrade down already to the tune of 2 3/4. Tesla's China sales, it's not bad. We'll talk about that, as Brendo mentioned. GM reported earnings down 2.5%. Oracle looking to add a lot of gigawatts, 5 gigawatts with OpenAI and Microsoft to expand power for their data centers. Brendo, Shopify also catching a downgrade, and Lockheed Martin reporting, and we'll have more to say about that if we cover it, because they have a huge drop in profitability.
Yeah, I heard you mentioning that this morning before we came on there. Better part of $5 swing on the per share number there for LMT. There's Coke right now just popping up in front of me at day lows if anyone's watching KO. So we'll keep an eye on where that heads here in the pre-market. Wanted to mention this as well. Paramount not really doing anything, but they're paying $1 billion for South Park, or sorry, $1.5 billion for South Park. Okay, that seems like a huge investment for a company like Paramount, but I don't know. I haven't watched South Park in years.
Neither have I.
I mean, way back when it was a great show, but I mean, it's like they got to be on like season 30 or something at this point. It's been around forever.
What's the direction of this company? Like, what do they do? What do they want to be? Do they want to be a streamer, or they want to stay in legacy media?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I lack the understanding of their direction.
It's crazy. I was surprised it's not doing something more than that. PARA, though, worth having a look at this morning. I saw an interesting note this morning that was kind of blew my mind, but it's been 18 days since the market posted a 1% or more move.
Really?
So volatility has officially taken a summer holiday.
And speaking of streaks, Brendo, if Google prints another green day, it'll be a record for Google. I think we're on 8 or 9 straight green days.
Yeah.
So close.
I think it was 9, yeah. The Mag 7 as a whole, I saw this morning as well, was 9 in a row to the upside, ahead of earnings as well. So a lot more to come, earnings from Tesla and Alphabet as well. Coming up this week, guys, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. So every time the show starts the same way, we get the fun music and the recap of what's going on overnight, a little back and forth, and eventually it comes to us. And in that time, like obviously, you, Sean, and myself, or Obi in this particular case, we're sitting here, thinking about, okay, well, what are we going to start with? I literally had Google up to talk about the win streak, and then right in the end, Shreve just has to go there and spoil the thunder. So I'll pivot, because there was a mention of South Park, to simply say, personally, I'm a big fan of student athletes. And if you get it, you get it. I love that show. South Park is hilarious. They've done some great gags over the years. But going back to the market, we do have Powell talking now, essentially. I don't necessarily think it's going to move the markets too much. But Alphabet 100% is in play. I liked Amazon more yesterday, and Amazon was a good long. Alphabet was a better long. And to the point that Brendan mentioned, the lack of 1% more days. This is the definition of needing to only be trading things that are moving. Because it's just going to be a chop fest in a lot of things that are following the market. You want things that are going. So if I'm looking at the Mag 7, I got to look at the ones that can go. And that's the reason why we spent a lot of time in the afternoon show looking at Open, because that was absolutely nuts. And we've got our guest.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
This is Randy's eldest, Bree. Come on up. Do you want to say hi?
I don't know what to say.
Anything.
Hi.
Say what's up to the fans.
What's going on?
So the question is, what do you think of this amazing renovation that we've got going on?
I think some work still needs to be done,
Definitely.
but I think it's going to look great.
There you go.
That's what we love to hear. Okay, the question is, are you going to ring the bell?
No.
Oh, no. Yes, you don't want to?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
I'll ring the bell.
We pressured you into it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Randy, we always want coffee. We always need coffee in here. We always need coffee. See. Now, whoops. What the heck?
Is that what?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. No. It's been wiped down.
Anyways. Now I lost my train of thought. That was weird. Anyways, now I lost my train of thought. The crazy thing about this, you guys can't hear this. So you straight up, used to be like you could sneak up on us. You're doing the show and you could walk around.
Can't do that anymore.
But like there's this fine like sand on this finish until they put the next layer on. So now you can literally hear every single step that a person makes behind you. It's actually almost a little obnoxious. No one's creeping up on us anymore there, for sure. I also love that hoodie, Obi.
Thank you.
It's weird. Like it was too hot here yesterday. It's cold.
It's chilly. So I woke up this morning. I was just like, it is really, really chilly. So it's a bit of a hoodie day. I like N64. We were just talking about the N64 are probably one of my favorite consoles for sure.
What were you guys?
Best bangers, and
Joe
brought up that one of the only consoles that never really had loading screens. So yeah, definitely.
N64.
Long Nintendo.
Favorite game?
I would say Super Smash Brothers. Yeah. Pod Racer. Yeah. There was also this. Tell me if you guys know Wipeout 64, a classic banger where there's futuristic pod racing. Wipeout 64. I know they made a recent. They made a recent remake for. It was on the PlayStation Store. I remember for some reason, but it's good. Just chilling. Hopefully we can play some of these tickers on the day today. I'm looking at Coca-Cola. Trying to get a taste out of this one today. We'll see with a little bit of a gap down. 69.37 coming in right now, so breaking some recent structures right here. So Coke is good. I like GM as well. GM kind of doing something similar. We did gap down a little bit, but it's recovering here as of right now as well. And let's see some other Philip Morris. That's what it was. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Philip Morris, that was the one. 178.84 was that. No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. And then 170.50s is the low right there. So yeah, quite a drop on Philip Morris as well. This one's breaking down some higher structures at the same time, similar to that of Coke, but multi-month lows on this one, breaking some lows all the way from May and June of this year. So yeah, let's see going forward during the day if there's going to be a little bit of continuation on any of these names. If not, where is the reversion? That's what I'm asking Neil. So a lot of opportunity, definitely in play names. Earnings day one, I like that.
No question. And Lockheed's is the ugliest of them, for sure. Down 8%. Talk about all of the earnings names. We'll get to all of it for you guys, including the movers. I know a couple of references about Open already in the chat. It is coming right back. All right, it's not that far back, but up 20%. The real story was how crazy this thing dropped in the afternoon. Like a complete, I can't remember seeing that type of a 180 for such an incredibly strong stock. It's already done 60+ million shares in the pre-market. So lots of volume, lots of liquidity, certainly in play again today. FinTech names are in play. Oh, how did we not mention this? FINRA is looking at reducing the minimum amount for the PDT rule from 25K to 2,000.
Bring in that liquidity.
I mean, that's
all I have to
that
say.
would increase liquidity. I know for all of you that trade with the PDT rule, we don't have it here in Canada, but obviously for those of you that deal with that rule, are probably going to be happy to see that. Of course, it only applies to boring and margin trading, but at the same time, it's one of those things. Big Brother's told you what you can't do, and hopefully we'll see. It's not a done deal yet. Hopefully they'll loosen the reins up a little bit. I know a lot of retail traders will be excited to see that. Of course, it would be a bit of a boon for some names that we know, although it's a little too early for things like Bull or Hood to be moving on that. To the desk.
Right, a few other things moving around here. Tesla trying to get back above 329 right now. We'll touch on that coming up here a little bit. Just keep my eye out for comments from Powell. He's talking about banks right now. So nothing. Market doesn't care. But just be aware, Powell is at this event in Washington currently. GM, there's Paramount, there's, I don't know which direction you want to go here. There's a little one that's moving around this morning as well. Saw a few people mentioning this HTOO, I was going to say H2O. HTOO, little high flyer on headline here. Might be one that you guys will be looking at here
baby.
at the midday.
But with these ones in the pre-market, Brendo, they have a tendency to kind of not trade as well during the midday, right? I always look for the ones that are really breaking out, at least around that 10:30, 11 o'clock. But this one looks good already. You're getting higher lows and higher highs or above the volume-weighted average price. This does pose a bit of a problem, though, if you're looking to trade it later in the day. The reason I say that is because it worked its way up all the way to $14.50, and that, at least for the moment, is going to be the pre-market high. And I won't touch this during the midday unless and until it clears that pre-market high, and it's already about $3 and change off that, Brendo. So up 140%. Looks good.
Let's go to the other end of the spectrum here. There's a note earlier from UBS on Apple this morning. We'll get to this in the rundown as well. But Apple coming out saying straight up, iPhone sales likely down 18% once again. In the month of June, we have to wait, what is it, a week or 2 weeks still for to hear from Apple. But worth noting going into a day where we start to get a little bit of the market thinking more about these earnings.
Absolutely. They're expecting some pull forward in demand, Brendo, as a result of tariffs, but they're expecting a weak September quarter, which is not good because that's when Apple starts doing its whole presentation on launching the iPhone 17. Widely speculated online that the 17 will have cosmetic changes, especially to the camera bump at the back. We're also expecting the Air, the thinner version of the iPhone, but you kind of feel, at least I do, this is just my opinion, that there's nothing really that novel that moves the needle that gets me saying super cycle.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Like this fold apparently is still in the works, unless they come out with something remarkable for a foldable phone. I don't know if that moves the needle.
Different somehow, right? And these Chinese, like Brendo, there's so many Chinese manufacturers that we don't even have here. Honor, Huawei obviously was here, Xiaomi. These guys are perfecting phones in a way we really don't see on this side of the border, yet we don't talk about them because they're not
and
sold here.
they're already on the tri-folding phones, let alone just the book. So Apple worth a note here. Guys, market, shouting distance from all-time highs here going into these earnings reports.
100%. But there's something you said, and I want to go back to this 18. We were just talking about something with Apple. This 18 days in a row. I can't believe that stat, Brendan, where we haven't had a more than 1% move. What that kind of tells me is there's a reason why all these mean reversion trades keep working out so well. Well, because if we were continuing morning trend super strongly on a lot of these big cap tech names in either direction, then we'd have more of these 1+% days. And Apple's been languishing a bit, but for everything about the daily chart has suggested that it's been in line for a breakout past 215 since the beginning of the month. We literally opened July with this pressing into 215, and we still haven't broken away from that level. Yesterday, it rejected it again. I'm going to slide this 15-minute to a 60-minute because I think it'll be easier to see when I do that. But the last couple times, that's garbage dark pool wick. But the last couple of times, the breaks of 15 have been heavily included yesterday. So yeah, I think Apple's in the midst of recovery. It's getting pulled back up. It's been beaten up for way too long as everyone has punished them for kind of, messing up messing up their AI rollout. Like I saw a video the other day, and it was like Apple versus Samsung, and it was like a picture of a guy's holding a sheet of paper in front of half of his face, and you try to eliminate the sheet of paper, and then tries to, obviously draw the other side of the image, what's behind it. Like Apple got beat so bad, which you knew going into it was going to be the case, but like it's turned into this. What's going to get us through the hump on Apple? And with that stat of the market not being super volatile, I think you get into an obvious supply zone and you wait for the curl and fade it. The thing about this market is it's been a situation where you can't, it's like sitting in front of the level hasn't been the way to play it. The last 2 times it faded 15, the high was almost 216 here and the high was 216.30 there. Yet really it's like the turn is around that 215. I know you're pointing out the same thing. Yeah. But yeah, I think you want to be shorting pops off that level until we get the actual breakaway. I'm still waiting for it. I mean, I think it'll be good. Like it could go into one of those trends that you're seeing Google on now if it can get through that level.
Yeah, no, Apple was great yesterday, and yeah, that 215 it showed itself. I got short on going into it on the front side. I was wicked out on this push through the 15, and then when sellers stepped back in so aggressively, it was aggressive both ways, Neil. When that 215 went, we were so fast to push into 215.70s and then slam right back in, right through. You can see that's a 3-minute candle, wiki action just above that 215. Another attempt above that level gets slammed right back in, and yeah, prior resistance as well, selling off all day, pretty much closing near the day lows. So yeah, prior day low, definitely going to be on watch coming into today if those sellers step right back in, or if we push back up to 215s, I'm going to look for more of the same. Is there still supply in an area where we've been shown pretty aggressive sellers stepping in? Unless and until they lift, I think that that breakout is off the table. But if we do distinctly break some of these highs and start holding structures above, yeah, maybe 215 is just a little bit of a bus stop on the way to higher prices. All-time highs definitely well within range. And you're asking what could take this Apple to the next level? Any sort of PR, I think we're looking for, waiting for any sort of AI deal where they have real results. I think that could be something. But regardless, the market is pushing all-time highs. The market is pushing even higher. So again, that tide will definitely lift this ship, I would say. So one thing or the other, aggressive move in the market, strong tailwind, or PR that's directly related to Apple can definitely give us a little bit of that. But until then, I think these supply zones should be watched pretty closely.
Still 20% from the highs, Apple is. Considering where we are in the queues.
Yeah.
Apple shareholders have to be disappointed at this moment.
As Sharif says, the dead one. Ooh. But maybe just a little slow. I don't know. Lagging.
Still listening to comments from Powell here. It looks like these are just like opening remarks. They're talking mostly still about banking and the banking system overall. So again, he's speaking at an event in Washington. Do you want to just touch on this? We touched on it briefly here early on, but LMT trying to bounce right now off 424. I mean, not necessarily a stock that anyone's going to be day trading today, but this is a decent move to the downside here. Double tapped on that 424 trying to bounce right now.
Yeah, so I really want to mention here, Brendo, that the EPS hit was a result of a charge that they took, but they're not doing well in a lot of segments. We'll get to that. So sales $18.2 billion. That was up slightly from the 18.1 they printed last year, but this is where it all falls apart. Net earnings, they took home $342 million. Compare that to last year, and that turned to $342 million, ended up being about $1.46 a share. Compare that to last year, Brendo, when they took home $6.85 a share. And there's a lot of demand right now, if you have noticed, for defense products. So where they are not doing well, the aeronautics classified program, $950 million pre-tax loss. The Canadian maritime helicopter program, Brendo, $570 million loss. The Turkish utility helicopter program at $95 million loss. And if that was enough, they have other write-offs and charges of $66 million. But that's the bad side of the equation. The good side is there's still demand for the F-35. Believe it or not, there's still demand for parts for the F-22, even though they stopped making that a while ago. And they have about $1 billion coming from the Army for a missile contract. So there is some potential tailwind. Just got to make sure those costs get shored up.
Yeah, if you zoom out on a technical basis, there's a huge level just below this as well, down around 423 to 420. you got to go all the way back to basically the beginning of the year. But again, we're opening around 428 down here this morning. So a huge move to the downside for Lockheed Martin. Worth noting, Powell seems to have left the podium. That actually might have been it. So there's a whole day's worth of content to come at this event today, including Michelle Bowman apparently is going to be sitting down with Sam Altman from OpenAI around lunchtime. So Adaira's all over that. Speaking of, she's at the screen right now with upgrades and downgrades.
We're supposed to get Trump today as well around the same time, so it should be a pretty exciting lunchtime. Stay tuned with us during that midday show from 11 to 2. Keep an eye on Albertson, our first upgrade of the day, getting a positive note from UBS. Then we've got Cleveland Cliffs with a KeyBank Capital Management upgrade. Citigroup here upgrading our friends at UP Fintech Holdings. This TIGR is the ticker for this one, getting that Citigroup upgrade. And then we've got Royal Caribbean with a TD Cowen upgrade. We're going to move to the downgrade side of things. CRCL getting a downgrade from Compass Point. You can read more about this one on our watch list. Lululemon at a pretty critical level on the daily chart. Now getting a downgrade from JP Morgan Chase to boot. Currently trading below this price target of 224. Shopify with a downgrade as well from Loop Capital. Again, you can read more about this one on our watch list as well. And last but not least, Sarepta Therapeutics, another blow for this company, continuing to deal with issues for its Duchenne muscular dystrophy drug and getting a Barclays downgrade, down 5%. What's the look?
Well, I'm probably going to trade Circle again today, so it's one we'll get to. I'm sure you want to talk about it, but I know a certain person who just left the screen who pointed out a very big level on Lululemon. So because Adair doesn't always get to show the charts, and we do in the aftermarket show, he came in telling everybody, hey, look at Lulu, double bottom here at 220. Sometimes a downgrade will get you there. This retail space it's been difficult for them. It's crazy that it's actually gotten this bad. Let me throw up a weekly chart on this as well. 220. It seems almost inevitable that it's going to break. And when you put it up on a weekly chart, it just makes it look more distinct if it loses $220. Just a wild ride and not a good one for Lululemon shareholders or whatsoever. It's not a triple bottom precisely, but it's almost effectively a triple bottom here on the weekly. And you're at 221 right now. Not a lot of extra volume this morning, but still big level there on Lulu. Circle's going to get traded. You know, I'm probably looking at the short that's in the note today. But yeah, Lulu should be on the radar. Anyone looking for a flat bottom break? I mean, Lulu's right there.
Yeah, I think Circle with the downgrade, so a little bit of a double whammy. We saw on Friday that pretty much reversed all of its move that we got. We got a push all the way up to 262.88, all-time highs. Currently 298s from that bit of a intraday double top flush, aggressive selling, and distinctly different kind of action that did lead into that trend break that gave us some 180s here. But let's pull up some of the anchored VWAPs here. Again, the chart's going to be a little bit messy, but I want to focus on two anchored VWAPs, one from the high, one from the open here as well. And those are bolded in purple and in red. And you can see as of yesterday, Neil, in the pre or after hours session and in the pre-market, we're breaking below this red anchored from the highs and stepping back down. Now again, 190.51 is where the anchored VWAP from the IPO open is sitting at. So we still have a ways to go for that, but $20 down is still well within range of what Circle is capable of doing. So on the day today, let's see if we get more of the same. That wipe, that 100% reversion, which I guess it was more than 100% reversion because it reverted even more and pushed into prior day's levels as well. And on day two of this action right here, coming into the beginning of the week, we saw continuation and strong continuation to say the least as we closed at low day and traveled even further. So with a bit of a downgrade in the morning as well, let's see if Circle can make a full circle back down into its anchored VWAP. That's what I'm looking for, Neil, here. If it can show us that sellers are still dominant on this for as they have been over the past 2 days, I'm going to be looking for more of the same here on Circle. 200 well within range. Let's see what happens in and around there. But trading below that anchored from the highs is something important to mention. Back below that 215 halves as well, that breakout price. So
Yeah, what was interesting in the afternoon show is that's where it was trying to bounce right in the afternoon. Late in the day, it was really trying to hold on to that 215 and that dump, and you can see the volume. Wasn't able to do it, man. I think we paid for locates on this one, looking continuation, but don't sleep on CoreWeave either, because those recent IPOs, that one has also been trending down. And if you're looking for some fade plays, that one, and again, I get
Yesterday
it.
was a beautiful reverse.
No, it was. This was actually, I would argue, Circle Short was good. Good.
It was good, yeah.
But I would argue that the way that this fell from the top and the way that it turned, CoreWeave was in some ways easier trade. I hate using the term it was an easy trade, but I think it was an easier setup because you could have had it, like you could have been, well, it just failed an even dollar and get in really early, or you could have waited till it broke trend. And it was so super clean here when it broke that trend line.
Yeah, I think something important to mention as well is from the day before. See, I didn't have eyes on Neil, and look at the confluence in this. So we have this strong selling coming in on Thursday. We broke this structure low. We consolidated below it and then traded even lower. So okay, healthy action in terms of showing us that sellers are definitely still in charge. Coming in off of the open on Friday, still aggressive selling that continued to sell off. Friday open being around 132 halves. And that action coming in off of the open comes right into that prior day high, which is also a bit of support from the day before. So support turning into resistance once again. So yeah, that trend break, a lot of confluence for that selling. And when you see that happen with that strong wick on the 15-minute chart, this is a 15-minute chart, you can see the topping tail, as you guys like to call it, right here, where it signifies sellers stepping in pretty aggressively at the same place where they stepped in the day before. So you're right. I don't really like calling things easy, Neil, but it was definitely straightforward in terms of showing us where sellers were involved and where they, if we were watching it, they showed up and participated in the same kind of way, in the same places and areas as they did the day before. So more of the same on CoreWeave. Let's see if that can happen. But it seems like if it's going to start trading sideways for the 2 days in terms of that range, that Monday range, Friday range and Monday range. Let's see what it does on Tuesday. Is it going to travel more of this range and just chop up sideways? I have no idea. But what it's shown us is that there are currently sellers at 134. So that's the limited information we're able to tell for the past 2 days. That could change, right? So unless and until that changes, let's see if we see more of the same on Circle.
Yeah, exactly. And before Go Bills asked me a question about Palantir that I wanted to. I can answer in the chat, which I did, but it's better visually because the question was simply, do I think Palantir is going back to 155 or 145 first? And so I'm just trying to keep it really simple. And when we talk about Alphabet, I'll show the exact same setup of a channel. Palantir has been in this channel, and we've talked about this so many times since April. And yeah, you can make the argument, okay, we didn't really wick the top and actually connect to the top of the channel, but they're selling at the 155, which effectively hit it. That's the thing about drawing a trend line; like it's not some solid wall that you can just put out there. So I feel as if it's more likely that we're on the backspin. I still think it's an upward trend, but I think we're on the backside of it and looking for the retest of the bottom of the trend line. And whenever I see this, like my first thought is, well, if I'm a buyer that's waiting. And until it proves otherwise, like the good thing about this and why I like these sort of trends, and Google will get to that when we can, is you can always pull back into the prior, make a higher low here at a pretty big level, like a 148. And if it holds 48 and then breaks out the top, that could be your signal that it's breaking out even above this upward trend line. So that's the first spot I'd look for, that would be 48. But yeah, I kind of feel like we're going from bottom to top, top to bottom on that trend line. That's what the beauty of something like that is. It just gives you a bit of an extra edge to have a small bias.
Another one that's been pretty wild here, just real quick before we jump into the futures. QuantumScape just popping up in front of me here at session lows, down again after being absolutely crushed out of the gate yesterday. This thing's been pretty crazy since going back to the end of last week. There wasn't much as far as news. If you remember Monday, there was some cost savings. There was a lease termination that they canceled, saved them about $20 million or so. going forward, but right back down. That entire move now gone here for QS.
It's a tough thing, the solid state batteries. We've been talking about this. Toyota's trying to do it. A lot of companies trying to do it. It's like the holy grail in EV batteries, so keep an eye on that. Big moves down from those pandemic highs. Have a look at that daily chart, guys, before working into that. Should we have a look at futures, Brenda? All right, guys, we're still locked in that range, believe it or not. 6,300 as support, 6,350 as resistance, with the overnight high being exactly that, 6,352 to the top, 63.35 to the bottom. So it feels like we may be able to capture 63.50 today as support. If that happens, obviously we'll be looking, Brendo, to 6,400 as resistance.
The slow grind to the upside, where, I mean, we're right at all-time highs here for most of the market anyways. If you haven't done so yet, grab that. Absolutely free. Link is down in the description. Top link will get you to the sign-up page. You need your email, and then it just shows up every single day, has everything on it that is moving around in the pre-market, and a little bit on why. Let's go to Circle here to start things off. Compass Point with a full-out downgrade to sell for Circle today, coming off back-to-back huge moves down already. Does this thing make it 3 in a row?
Let's find out, Brendo. Compass Point certainly doesn't think so. They're downgrading, as you mentioned, from neutral to sell, and dropping that price target, guys, from 216.10 down to 130, reflecting really diminished long-term confidence in the firm's economics. The downgrade is driven by recent U.S. stablecoin legislation, which kind of raised concerns over Circle's $53 billion valuation. Despite USDC's potential remains acknowledged, Compass Point is now more cautious about Circle's financial outlook, and Compass kind of anticipates Circle will soon kind of expand its distribution network, likely pressuring margins. Expected competition, though, Brendo, coming from these banks, especially regional banks and fintechs, which will be launching their rival stablecoins in the second half of this year. So it's not just going to be USDC and Tether anymore. In contrast, Citigroup's initiated coverage with a buy rating last week on Circle, saying they had good leadership in the stablecoin adoption. And analysts are kind of divided here post the IPO. The bears point to overvaluation, regulatory uncertainty, and static USDC supply. The bulls, for their case, Brendo, they cite long-term network effects and the first mover advantage, which Circle has.
Yeah, context key. It's choking me up. Context key here. I mean, they have a 130 price target on this, which is way down here. This thing got elevated quick, guys.
Yeah, I just heard Obi say he has a $100 price target on Circle. Let's think about 190 where it could get to first. That's that anchor that is absolutely held like a charm. So take it day by day, step by step. David, thank you for the super chat. Mr. Tretsiak, haven't slept. Pulled a hat trick on Open, Alphabet, and NXPI yesterday. Let's get it. Absolutely, let's get it. And early on, look, it was a long early on Circle in the morning, and then once it reverted the trend, it was just a short later on. We had that one at the end of the day as well. But you guys can see we've just put in a pretty distinct lower high. You had the Sell the News event with Crypto Week last week and a little bit of a pullback in some of these names. You're at peak mania, right? Like everyone and their mother is doing a crypto treasury. There's been such a fantastic run up here, and it is still a potential squeeze play. So I think you want to be careful anytime you're trading this to the south side. But once we lost underneath 220, it was a clear trend reverse. Now you've got the other side. Like the prior resistance, this used to be the anchored from the high when it broke out. And right around 215, 216 is that same level. I'm fading it into that. If we break away, once it's above 220, you got to recognize this could be squeezing on you. But I'm looking to fade Circle, at least until it gets to the 190 area. I'm favoring the shorts. So I mean, Circle in trouble. Circle coming off of the highs. If you were short, like there's probably shorts in this that are still quaking in their boots. But at the same time, for at least the last day and a half, they've been in control.
Yeah, I think Circle, I extensively talked about this one. I want to see if they're going to continue to be, like we said, in control on the day today. Yesterday they were pretty dominant. The day before, aggressively dominant, 100%, over 100% reversion of that crazy move all the way up to 262s. There's pretty much squeeze action there. And when that buying kind of slowed down or stopped, dissipated, oh boy, did those sellers step right back in. So yeah, I'm curious to know. We are stepping back below some of those anchors from the highs as well, like I pointed out earlier. So just taking it step by step, like Neil said, let's see, where's the next step? That's pre-market lows. That's 206.61s, and then you can see a little bit of a bid coming in prior Wednesday off of 201.25s, and then there's a bit of support here. Strong flush that came in prior Tuesday, got bid right back up off of that 190, which is in confluence with that lower end of the anchored VWAP coming from IPO inception. So we're in a bit of a sandwich here, a bit of a VWAP pinch happening, and we're back within that range. We tried to push above that range, and then we aggressively sold right back into it. So the question I'm asking is, what is the probability, what is the likelihood now that once we've tried or attempted to push the high of the range and then fallen back in, what's the likelihood of us traveling to the lower end of the range? So those 190s, I'm definitely going to be watching today. 200, sure, it's a little bit arbitrary, but let's see what happens in and around there as well, if there's any sort of significant transactions going through the 200 level. But looking for more of the same. We could be wrong. We could be totally wrong, and we see buyers come right back in. We're still holding above this reference price from Wednesday, last Wednesday, when that aggressive bidding did come in, and we're pulling back into the lower end of that range. That's what I'm talking about here. So let's see. Are they still dominant? I don't know, but we'll circle back to this one.
Yeah, we'll see. But just very quickly here, Kohl's is going absolutely, it's going crazy right now. It's buy program sitting there on Kohl's. I've just double checked. I haven't heard anything in my ear. I haven't seen anything on the wire yet, but I would suspect you've got something decent going on. The first thing that came into my head was, okay, what's going on? Maybe there's some kind of a deal that we don't know about. But Kohl's right into a big resistance level. You've now filled in the gap from March here for KSS. Certainly a squeeze play. Kohl's it's a decent enough short float. What do we got here? Whoa, that can't be right. That's bigger than the last time I checked. I have 66% for the short float of Kohl's.
Oh boy. That's
nice.
Impressive.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. I want to keep my ear to the ground, though, because I feel as if there's got to be some kind of a story or a catalyst here, but the shorts quaking in their boots on this one, although they're definitely in control on General Motors. Someone's been selling that thing ahead of earnings for the last at least 2 weeks at the 54 level. Pretty obvious when we'll get to the chart, but let's talk some GM.
A lot of people wondering what the cost of these tariffs going to end up being here. GM out this morning with, that $1 billion on their latest quarter directly related to tariffs. They also said the full year number going to be north of 5, specifically Q2, going to be even more than the prior quarter. So not good here. I think this is the first taste we're getting at least of what the actual numbers are going to be.
Yeah, and we've been waiting for these in the inflation numbers, and they haven't been coming, Brendo. So they've been passing the costs off to some of their suppliers. Let's talk about how they did. EPS of 253, easily beating the 254 expected by the street. On revenue, Brendo, of 47.12 billion. The street was looking for 46.25 billion, so beat on the top and bottom line. But it's not all sunshines and rainbows. Net income fell 35.4% year over year, down to 1.9 billion, and EBIT dropped 31.6% year over year on the quarter. So a bit of a miss there. Revenue also did decline 1.8% despite beating estimates. Now let's talk about the tariffs. So investors are really focused here on the tariff exposure. Trump's 25% tariffs on autos and parts remain in effect, and GM, as you mentioned, estimates a $4 to $5 billion hit to full year profit. They say in the second half of this year, it will be more exposed to tariffs, the Q2 versus the first half. But it has offset about 30% of the cost hikes through price adjustments as well as manufacturing shifts. They announced $4 billion also in new investments in the United States. They're going to build plants, and they're also going to shift, moving Mexican production of 2 vehicles to the U.S. factories. The company will build new trucks a gas-powered SUV in Michigan, and reduce import reliance and lower tariff impact. And let's talk about the EV sales here, guys, because remember under the previous administration that they had wanted to be fully electric. That's not going to happen anymore. They sold 46,300 EVs, Brendo, in Q2 on total vehicle sales of 974,000, missing that 1 million estimate by the street. The loss of the U.S. EV tax credit, which is effective September 30th, could pull forward a lot of Q3 sales, still to be determined. We'll have to see if it happens. They do maintain their long-term EV ambitions, but they say it's not going to be regulation directed anymore. It's going to be market demand that dictates that.
CFO moments ago echoing that very sentiment, saying EV policy changes will have minimal impact on 2025 total results. That was part of the reason we got that bounce to the upside. Just be aware, earnings call still on here, guys, for GM.
Yeah, somebody was very aggressively holding the stock between $53 and $54 last week. So lo and behold, they clearly believed that this should not be going any higher. I don't think it looks all that sexy today. And if you had this on your charts, I mean, I look at KSS and what's going on. I look at a couple of names on that list lower. We already talked about Circle, where you throw in Open. There's a heck of a lot moving. That said, it's such an obvious sell area, and the numbers aren't good, and you can blame everything you want on tariffs. It's not as if the space was doing that great anyways in the longer run. So I think you got to be looking short. I just don't know if this is something that I would trade first. You know, it didn't make my list. If anything, some of the other earnings names look actually a little bit weaker. Like if you look at some of the other short opportunities out there, they look a little weaker than General Motors and are going to do a lot better volume. But I think you're fading this one until someone proves they can buy it above that 54 level. So, and I'm saying all that despite the fact that it's a broken trend on the daily. Like it broke a downtrend and looks like this should be, hey, go dip buying in front of $50. I guess we could cross that bridge if we get there, if it gets down to 50.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's wiping right back up, Neil, and bouncing off of some prior resistance as well. So yeah, a lot of technicals coming into play. This is a 15-minute chart, and something that stands out to me, Neil, is that on Tuesday, July 1st, we had that aggressive bid, and we started consolidating within the upper, even making higher highs off of that, within the upper range of that strong bid. We're pulling back into prior structure off of the earnings report here. You can see a bit of a double top. That's what we broke out on that aggressive day. You can see that day also has significant volume along with relative volume coming in on the next day as well for that continuation, which did come in pretty nicely off of that day one, day two, day three, and then been consolidating for multiple weeks afterwards, slowly grinding up. But coming back into that $50 level, it seems like that resistance now acting as support because the flush has been pretty much reverted almost 100% there, pulling back up into $52.20 with a reaction low of $50.60. So I'm curious to know, if we wipe right back up on the initial reaction, we push back down, we wipe back up, are those buyers from that Tuesday, are they still dominant on this kind of action? That's what I'm asking. Do we see buyers off of the open? It is earnings day one. We do have significant relative volume in the pre-market. We're doing over 27 times relative volume on General Motors in the pre-market session. So definitely in play. Going to be watching it. Let's see what it does off of the open. Sure, I can throw on a bit of an anchored VWAP as well, but I'm watching some of these prior range levels that Neil so astutely pointed out. 52.60s, 53s to 54s, a little bit of a held range there. If we see more of the same, or can we actually break that range on a day like today? Definitely could have the volume and the umph with that day one earnings volume. So we'll see if that comes in today.
Shopify here, trying to bounce actually right now. Not a lot of volume behind this move this morning, but it was looking pretty ugly there early on, back below 125 briefly. KeyBank not happy with Shop.
Neither is Loop, Brendo. They downgraded Shop from to a hold, from buy, maintaining that $120 price target. They're basically, they want to clarify that the downgrade is valuation driven. It has nothing to do with the metrics of the company or the operations, just saying it's fully priced in. At current levels, they say Shopify is trading at 14.7 times estimated 2025 revenue, which Loop says fully prices in its bullish case thesis. The firm believes the near-term upside upside is limited, making it less attractive relative to other growth names in its coverage universe. But despite all this, despite all the long-term looks here, the Loop still considers Shopify one of the strongest long-term stories in its portfolio among e-commerce and software platforms. The note, Brendo, suggests the core business remains solid with no major red flags around execution or demand, just a valuation story.
Yeah, I mean, overall, if you zoom out here, this thing's still having quite the year, to say the least, back at all-time highs, guys, for Shop.
Speaking of highs, believe it or not, Kohl's is...
It's still
the move is real and it's spectacular, and it just hit $14, now up 35%. Some people were saying they saw 49% as a short float. I saw 65. That type of a number, it doesn't really matter. This is a pure squeeze play. There's no catalyst that I'm able to see here on Kohl's, and it's just like it's blown through pretty much. I mean, every resistance level that you would think makes sense. It's blown through it, and there's not much until you get to about $15 to $16. Yeah, Kohl's looks great. Congratulations to anyone that's got that one. Shopify, like the stock. Unfortunately, like you've caught the downgrade. I like the fact that it's getting bounced back up here a little bit, but this is going to be on the no trade list for me as a day trade. There's just too many things to be looking at, and we haven't even gotten to, and I guess this is the only chance to mention Amazon because I guess it's loosely related to Shopify, but if I'm looking at something in the space, it's going to be that. What I will point out is I want it on a positive catalyst, and the reason why I'm interested in Shop when there's a positive catalyst is this weekly chart right here. I mean, come on, who's not going to want a 130 break on Shop when it breaks this level out on the weekly? So I don't know if it's tight enough that I guess if you wanted to short in front of it, makes some sense. But yesterday Amazon blew through that seller that was at 226 on Friday. It was a good dip buy. It was a good trend trade. I want to go back to the well in a relatively strong stock there. I'm buying dips prior high and then 228 and 226. On Amazon, and I like Alphabet as well for dip buys. That's another strong name. Shop's a pass for me until we get that breakout. It could happen anytime, I suppose.
Yeah, even with that little bit of a selling that we're getting in the pre-market session, what's interesting to me is over the past couple of days, after that strong bid on Thursday and maybe a little bit coming in on Wednesday as well, you can see that relative volume has been present over the past at least 4 trading days as Shopify continues to bid slightly higher and higher. But in the pre-market session today, relative to the past 4 or 5 days, you can see we're kind of pulling back in, breaking prior day's lows in the pre-market. This was a little bit of support at that 126 and some change. We're pushing that as of right now in the pre-market, trading at 126.15. So have we broken the bid? That's the question that I'm asking. Let's take a higher time frame look. You can see higher highs and higher lows on this one. Even if we go up to a weekly, Neil, you can see the structure that's really building on this one. And I know you pointed this out. If this pushes for that 129.38 level, yeah, definitely poised for a bit of a push. We dipped down pretty aggressively down to $70 and bought right back up. So beautiful reversion, bigger picture, higher highs and higher lows. Seems like it's poised for a bit of a push, but is it going to go? I think we wait till that level actually cracks and shows us that buyers are dominant and they continue to stay dominant on Shopify. Maybe we can go shopping above that level.
Kohl's now 15.5, volume still increasing. What's crazy about this move, everybody, we'll get to Tesla in a quick little second. We still have like 12 minutes to go till the open. What's crazy about this move is expanding candles on a 3-minute, expanding volume candles as well. That's what I was just put in the chat. Be careful with this one. This feels like a dump could absolutely be incoming. You don't usually see this type of expansion going into the open. I mean, who wouldn't be taking some profit? I wouldn't be surprised if we had a big time pullback, either right at the open or right before the open happens, expanding volume. The second we start losing any of that vol, I think you're going to be looking at a hefty pullback on KSS. It's still unable. Like if you look at all of these candles on a 3, look at how it's not closing above the price. It's opening above the prior high and holding every single time, like very, very cleanly. There's one little check up here at about 906, but crazy, crazy move here in KSS. And it's just a short squeeze. We see no particular catalyst. It just went through $16, headed toward head toward the moon, apparently. One stock that is not headed toward the moon and is going to look awfully boring in comparison to, I mean, everything's going to look boring in comparison to Kohl's right now. Tesla.
Not every day you get 100%.
Earnings are going to be a big deal.
Oh my God!
$17.
Someone's blowing up on that thing. That's blowing up accounts.
Someone's getting blown. No, there's multiple.
Is there an ARCA chaser? There's.
No, I'm watching the tape. I don't see anything really chasing, and there's nothing distinct in the book about this except for the fact that clearly, now someone's selling it in. Someone just popped about 30,000 shares and refreshed underneath the 17 level on this stock. Ooh, and they got filled twice. It was right in around the 16.5 when it came down through 17, and so there's some bigger sellers starting to jump into this one underneath the $17 level on Kohl's. Look, balance is about to drop out. Let's talk a little bit about Tesla, but I know Kohl's is easily taking that spot away from open, I guess.
I was just seeing there was an update actually yesterday, guys, July 21st of the short percent. This thing's come down quite a bit, but 49.3 I see right now for KSS as of July 21st. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of minor things on Tesla today. It is trying to break out of that recent resistance point around 330. That was China weekly sales. We're down to weekly sales now, we're reporting. Down 20%, I don't know. And we mentioned that Golden Dome thing. Trump might pull that from SpaceX. Not going to affect the stock, though.
It's funny how like everything is really in focus with Tesla now that we're talking about weekly sales. Here we are. They reported 9,900 new insured registrations in China for the week of July 14th to 20th. That's down 19.3% from the previous week, which was 12,300 cars registered with the insurance bureau there. The year-over-year sales for the week fell 5.7%, though the current quarter is still up, believe it or not, 72% quarter-over-quarter, despite, here's the more caveat, being down 4.3% year-over-year. Sorry to throw all this at you, but obviously it's kind of like zig and zag here with some of the Tesla sales. Their Q2 U.S. sales, though, Brendo, dropped 12%. Contrast that with the relative resilience in China. Year-to-date sales globally are down 4.8%, showing the broader challenge in North America and the European demand. Longtime sales leader as well, Troy Jones, he's out, who he led Tesla sales over a decade. He's exited the company, Brendo. He's going to be replaced by Raj. I'm not going to try to say that last name so I don't butcher it, but he's a senior executive suggesting a possible strategic shift. And Tesla is doubling down in China with the launch of the Model 3 Plus. We don't have that here. And apparently it's got 500 plus miles of range. The company also surpassed 3 million units sold for the Model 3 worldwide, Brendo.
Not bad at all. Just for the record, still nothing official on Kohl's, but we're back to 17 here, guys, for KSS.
This tape is absolutely wild. I'm just staring this down. Like this is clearly squeezed, and the buyers seem like they're not done. Yeah, sure. Sellers step right in a little earlier here, and oh boy, that is my Tesla chart. But we'll just get to that one in a second. This is a weekly chart, so yeah, obviously a lot of stuff on it. It's definitely got a lot of indicators from like the dailies and stuff. But regardless, all that noise. Putting all that noise aside, we are still consolidating. We did make higher lows on top of the 250, and a bit of a flag forming here, maybe some tight compression between these structure highs and structure lows. 275s and 365s-ish, and we're pretty much kind of ping-ponging in between that over the past couple of few weeks here on Tesla. So I'm curious. Let's see if we get that continuation. But I'm watching this. I'm watching this pretty much every day. If there's anything that shows up, nothing really. For me, there might have been something yesterday, Neil, when it kind of flushed and back through these pre-market lows. But on a day like today, after it dead cat bounced for the remainder of the day after the morning session on Monday, I'm just going to be watching this end-of-day range and see if that can give us anything significant. But other than that, Tesla, yeah, I'll keep it on the back burner. I have it up pretty much most of the time. As of right now, trading sideways. Sure, we have some delivery. I think it was sales numbers that came in. But as of right now, I think this is just consolidating in no man's land. So unless and until it can really distinctly get past either that 365 or below that 275, I'm going to stay a little bit patient with this one and let it consolidate.
From one EV company to another, VinFast deliveries of over 67,000 EVs in the first half of 2025, closing in on its first its full year 2024 delivery targets. Look, they delivered 11.4 in June, filled by strong demand for the VF3. That's Vietnam's best-selling electric mini car, and new models from the Green Series. For the first half of 2025, domestic deliveries were over 67,000 as said. Remember, VinFast delivered over 97,000 EVs full year 2024. VinFast is on track to surpass what it delivered last year. Their affordable lineup accounted for 66% of deliveries, highlighting growing middle-class appetite for urban mobility options. VinFast, that's VFS on the Nasdaq. Scan the QR code for more information there. And wow, look, first off, let me just very quickly, Tesla over under 331. I mean, that was resistance on Friday. That was resistance yesterday. If it punches through that, it looks pretty strong. But my goodness, Kohl's just hit 19.89. Just hit $19.89. It's still expanding both on volume and in terms of volatility. The $20 level has held at least for now. 5 minutes to go until the open. We'll talk a little bit about Apple. I know we like some 215 short on that, but before we get to that, just want to show you the imbalances quickly. NCNA is a penny stock. Open is a 2 million buy. Remember them? That we probably would have talked more about if not for Kohl's. QuantumScape, 1.2 million to the sell side. TSLL, 1.2 million to the sell side as well. NEO's a 600,000 buy. Archer, just under $500,000 to sell on the opening imbalances. Big one I would say is QS. 1.2 million to the sell side for them is pretty big. Let's go to the desk and talk a little Apple as Kohl's just hit 20 exactly, 1 cent. It broke it by 1 cent.
Quick double up, you know. Why not? Yeah, let's talk about Apple. A couple of notes here from analysts this morning. I can't keep my eyes off this Kohl's chart. It's going to break. It's just a matter of time.
What a great
That's $20 right there.
Amazing.
Wow. Apple, on the other hand, not doing a heck of a lot here. I was just noting Warren Buffett really or I guess we have to call it Berkshire at this point, not necessarily Warren Buffett. Hasn't done anything. Remember, he sold a whole bunch going into the end of last year, still at 300 million shares, however. Domino's, though, he doubled up on his late 13F, going from 1.3 million to 2.6 million shares of DPZ. What do you got on Apple here?
The only reason Alfred bought DPZ was
that?
because of Warren Buffett. Also want to mention that I was telling you off camera, Berkshire Hathaway possible acquisition of a train company, not exactly which one. I think it's Kansas or the other one. I'll double check that for you guys. But with respect to Apple, officially launching its online Apple Store and app in Saudi Arabia with full Arabic support, making a milestone in the regional strategy. Just to tell you guys that there's no official Apple Store anywhere in the Middle East currently except in Dubai. There is talks to open one in Egypt, and as I'm talking about this one right now in Saudi Arabia and one in Turkey. Apple is also offering configure to order Macs, custom Apple Watch builds, and Arabic English engravings on AirPods and Apple Pencil, flexible payment options, as well as buy now, pay later, all that good stuff that we have over here. And they plan to open their first actual physical flagship store in Saudi Arabia by 2026. One notable site is a UNESCO World Heritage location, which kind of looks that they're trying to signal a luxury brand presence. And in May, President Trump announced a $600 billion, obviously, Saudi investment plan for the United States. So looks like some reciprocating deals here, Brenda.
Yeah, still taking the ostrich approach, however, for AI and Siri, apparently, at this point. Have you heard anything new? I haven't.
They've been very tight-lipped about it, and actually Meta has been poaching some of their people, which kind of makes me wonder, why on earth would Meta take their people? They haven't done a good job.
Doc has all the money to spend, though. Apple today, guys, what's the deal?
Fade 215, because that's been working since May the 1st. May the 1st, 215 resistance. It's gotten above it a couple of times. With the market not doing anything more, like no 1% plus days in the market, it's hard to imagine if you go 1 point and go into resistance on an Apple that you break the trend. So I don't necessarily see it. So that's my first thought of where to go to. There was a bit of a sell. There was no sell imbalance on Amazon. I saw that drop about $1. So Mag 7, no update at 928. There's no big imbalances on the Nasdaq names. It's still just QuantumScape over 1 million shares, and Kohl's going absolutely ham. There's no imbalance on Kohl's either, Obi.
Yeah, no, Apple, I don't know if I'm going to take a bite out of this one today, but that 215, May the 1st, you say, the force definitely holding at that 215s as we know. So May the 1st be with you. That was pretty bad. But I'll be watching for that 215 coming in off of the open, Neil, for sure. Let's see what comes in. Yesterday's aggressive strength was kind of a little significant, but I'm watching some of these names as well, earnings names. So good luck to you all. And Neil, I don't know, that KSS is probably going to be on watch, one of the main ones on watch on today, but I don't have no idea what it does off the open. It's going absolutely parabolic in the pre-market.
This is the heaviest sell that's now come in, and look, right before the open is when it looks like the sellers try to get control of cold. But we have a special guest, Randy's daughter, ringing the bell, which is brought to you by Beta Pro. As I try to hit the countdown, Beta Pro by Globex. Shout out to them. Let's get this party started. We're watching Coles very heavily in 3, 2, and 1. Give it a good ring. Oh, that is
open.
Not messing around at all. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree because Randy's always wanted to break our eardrums. Look, I know a lot of people are going to be watching Coles right off of the bat here.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like it immediately found a bid at 19, like instantly a bid found at $19 on Coles and then back up to 21. Look at the wash. It just went 19 to 21 to 19.
24.
It's at the halt band.
Squeeze,
this is trying to halt at 21, 23 at the band.
Let's go.
It's trying to halt it. Yeah.
It's halting. Oh, reset. Halt, reset.
Oh, halt reset. I'm out.
Yeah.
I wanted to take the halt.
Yeah, no, that's a halt reset right there.
That was so fast. When it's a fake halt in a
fast.
situation like that, if you're trying to go long the halt, you've got to have yourself either a stop or just the ability to punch out really quickly. Because I was going to take the long halt and then see where it gapped, but we're in and out, I think for like 3 cents, whatever, like a small amount there. But the seller's now starting to come in very, very quickly. I'm still watching Amazon, and we didn't even get to Google. That's probably going to come in for me on the bid on Alphabet. As Coles tried to break, but the seller is starting to win. And no story that we know of, everybody. It just feels like an absolute pure squeeze play on Coles. All right, here comes Google pulling right back into prior highs at 190. This is really starting to come in as well. And I promised I would look at open, but we'll get to that sometime during this open.
Yes, sir. So I do want to get a little bit involved here with open off of the open. I'm watching KSS as well. I'm watching some of these earnings names. We were looking at Google as well, Neil, if you remember. Google tanking off of the open, so no real continuation happening there as of right now. Market also giving us a little bit of a tank as both the ES and the Nasdaq pull right back in. 23,300s coming in on the Nasdaq, trading even lower. Wow, Google giving it up all the way back down to prior day's consolidation opening range highs, and Tesla pulling back as well. We talked about Tesla prior day low. Oh boy, here comes a little bit of open door. I don't know if it's open for any fresh lows, but we saw the selling step in yesterday. Don't know if this is going to be it just now. But wow, KSS still holding above VWAP, but aggressive pullbacks and aggressive, I guess, volatility coming in right off of the open. Let me know what you guys are trading. Oh boy, QuantumScape. We were looking for continuation, Neil. Straight slap up off of the open. So, oh boy, coming into prior day's anchored VWAP now is QuantumScape. So let's take a quick look at that one. Apple taking a little bit of a pullback as well.
Neo's
so
flying.
QS Neo, or do you mean NIO? So
well, yeah.
QS coming into $12.40 right now. Aggressive push. Let's see. I like the reversion, Neil. So when I see that aggressive strength, oh boy, I do want to get involved with this potentially. So I'm going to pull this one up right here. Where you at? QuantumScape. Hello. Not in Blue Ocean, but in the nicey. So let's see if this reversion is just going to be just as nicey as I'm looking for here. Anchored VWAP coming in 1240s. Yeah.
I see exactly what you did there. Like I said, I was like, oh man, we promised to get to open as well. Coles is it took a lot of the attention in the morning, but open was easily the best stock to trade yesterday for a lot of people. And if you were watching in the afternoon, $4 held exactly at $4. It just held exactly at $4 again. This feels like an obvious continuation play. Google is still dropping in here as it just tagged 189.5 and continuing to fall. I think you mentioned, did you mention Tesla?
Yeah.
Tesla got halfway to that 331, so still 331 resistance on Tesla, as the market's looking relatively weak. If you got shorts, I think you hold on to them. The other name we're looking short was Circle, which goes nowhere near $215. It's still breaking down. This is one I want to get involved with to the south side. I thought I was bidding 69s on. No, I was not. Apparently, I was bidding 68s on open, not 69. So I'm not going to chase open. I'm not going to chase Circle down at those levels. But as long as we're holding 360 on open, I want to get another leg out. I think this could be, the way Kohl's is doing volume, I think this could be insane. Wow. Imagine you traded without a stop. Imagine I traded without a stop. When you take, and the mechanics here just very quickly, when a stock goes to the halt band, the first thing I do is put a stop order underneath that price. And then if I get the long and it just even ticks a cent underneath, I'm instantly out. Otherwise, you're getting absolutely rinsed. Because if you're wondering how the heck do you get out of that trade, and it's going to go into a down halt as we speak. Kohl's is going into a down halt.
My God.
And there it is, halted to the downside, 1693. They absolutely rugged it. It'll be a 5-minute, ideally, it'll be a 5-minute halt. Just going back over to Amazon, I did pick up the dip buy in Amazon. Google looking okay, but Amazon at least a relatively stronger at this particular point. Goes right into the prior day close, 229 1/3, and catches a bit of a bounce the second time through. So I'm going to get this one back into the 230 level here. There was a big seller holding 230 all pre-market on Amazon. So if it can punch through that, I think you got some serious continuation. I might think get out of this and then punch more long on a 230 break. Amazon having a fantastic day yesterday. Let's see if we can get some continuation.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm kind of looking for more potential here on QS as I watch it. Maybe potentially slow down as well. Open pulling back in a little bit. Didn't quite break some of these pre-market levels just yet. But that Google is looking nice. Pre-market lows on open, I think, all the way down below that $3.50 here. Trading at $3.64s. So let's see if that potentially comes in. QuantumScape still holding some strength off of the open there. So 12 halves pulling back off of some of those as of right now. You can see the market as well. Market pulling back pretty decently alongside that. Google is one of the culprits. NVDA as well pulling back pretty aggressively. Softy pulling back into prior days levels. Amazon though, Neil, you were talking about Amazon. Amazon dipped and now ripping a little bit past some of its pre-market levels here. Not quite at pre-market highs just yet, I would say, but yeah, definitely one to watch out for. All right, QuantumScape stopped me out twice. Seems like buyers are definitely still a little involved in this one off of the open. Again, distinctly different from yesterday, coming in with an all-day sell-off on this name. Distinctly different, like I said. $12 coming to $12.60. Bless you, Neil, on that one. Amazon as well. Let's see if we can crack through those pre-market highs. QuantumScape seems like this is not the backside just yet, and open seems to be catching maybe a little bit of turbulence in and around this 65. But,
that was a
wow! Look at the wick.
Seller.
Look at the buy on ES right now. That is a hard wick on the 15-minute candle, Neil.
Whoa, that was a big seller on Amazon that just absolutely turned the stock at $230. I was 2 seconds away from adding to this position. I was gonna add on a 230 break. I'm jumping out of Dodge on that. Like that was insanity. It went to 230 exactly on Amazon. I had to stop to go more long. I'm gonna jump out and wait for the next opportunity there. Just a quick update on open. It held at 365. double bottom on this. I got some out there at the 370s on the way back up. I'm going to hang on to 30% in the event that we break 360 and then look for a flush. This could be easily down at $3 in an absolute heartbeat. Let's go back over to Adara at the desk, I believe.
I just want to let you guys know, I've been looking into KSS. I don't have anything beyond the squeeze, but of course, if that changes and when I have more time, when the session settles down, I will take a deeper look because I do want to find the whole story here if there is one with regards to why KSS is moving the way it is. I do also want to let you guys know here, we do have numbers at 10 a.m. Richmond Fed composite index, but I also want to mention some tickers that are running this morning. Here's PONY. This one up pretty decently, 6% short float. We also have another animal-themed ticker here, WOOF. That would be Petco Health and Wellness. This one with this almost 17% short float. So Pony and Woof both moving this morning as we send you back to the guys.
Remember when pets, cats, and dogs used to run together? Yeah. So yeah, it seems like a little bit more
days.
Sympathy plays.
1 minute till Cole should open
they're
back up.
eating the
Oh
cats.
boy,
They're
1 minute.
eating
I think,
the
yeah,
pets.
what a short, man. Oh
What an unbelievable flush. You're seeing the market continue to lose a bit here, though. Alphabet is now down 189.5, so I guess that streak is going to be in jeopardy. Well, it's early. It's obviously early, but going red is Alphabet. Circle's dropping like an absolute... Circle's dropping like a rock as well. As we said, like if you got a short, you want to hang on to this for certain. CoreWeave was another name to watch, but I got to get on over. I just remembered, not Blue Ocean. Come on, Rigetti. All right, let it load.
Good Lord.
Let it load. There we go. Rigetti lost the $16 level, which was a big one yesterday. This one was on my note. If it can hold underneath 16 for a bit of a fade, it just jumped back underneath. You see it did like an over-under, like initially faded, bounced, held 16 even, and then right back. So I want to look for this one to the south side as well. Quantum names starting to pull back in addition to the rest of the market. Adara?
Keep an eye here on DJT. This is, of course, Trump Media and Technology Group. They're known for Truth Social, but they've also been trying to make a bit of a push into crypto. Yesterday announcing they've made purchased more than $2 billion worth of crypto and Bitcoin-related assets. So either way, DJT looks like a day two move for this one. Pretty strong look. And maybe if you went long DJT, you can, in fact, agree with that Donald Trump quote that was just pushed. Back to you.
Oh, boy, yeah, actually. Thank you. Sharif, for that. Yeah, a little bit of a pullback off of that 214 level on Apple there. Thank you for pointing that out, Sharif. 213.34. So yeah, we're looking for more sellers to be dominant. Oh boy, Open is pulling back in to 340s. So oh boy, why do I not have more? I have no idea, but it is what it is. We have what we have. Let's just try to make better decisions with what we have here. So I will continue to kind of post into that. GM breaking that $50 level right now, Neil. So $50. Let's see if that's anything interesting. Yeah, it is. It's trying to crack as of right now. So GM with a bit of continuation, breaking through that opening range low. Oh boy, Open's coming right back into that $3 level as of right now. Are we pushing a little bit lower here? That low from yesterday coming in at $2.79, Neil, only about 50 pennies away. Oh, good Lord.
Believe me, it's going into, halt band is at 320 here on Open. It's going into the halt band as we speak. If it holds and does not halt, I'm going to take one more lot out, but I think it's going into the halt. It's 15 seconds from the point that you get to the halt band. It either goes up or we're going halt to the downside on Open. Oh, there he is. It does at the last second. Oh, that was insane. I was completely resigned to the fact that it was going into the halt there. It was 1 second. I don't know, it's kind of in my head, but I think it was 1 second away from now it's going to break through. So I took another leg out. We'll see how far Open's going to go to the downside. Just going right back over for everybody. Cole's opened and now even lower as it loses VWAP and continues to fall. Market near the lows. Pretty much everything falling at this moment. I just paid for locates on Rigetti. In my face for not having them, but it looks like it's pulling right back into the 16 to give me another shot. So I will now be able to short this name. Preparation is key, everybody. But the market still at the low of the day. The only thing that's not looking weak, as I'm trying to get into Rigetti,
Oh boy.
Amazon.
Yeah,
Amazon is
quite
held
well, dude.
jinxed. Amazon had held support at 229.40 and looked like it was going to hold out. Nope. It just broke that low of the day as well. So pretty much everything looking a little bit weak. Be patient. We've seen mean reversions. And that stat that Brennan gave, it's been, what, 18 days since we've had a 1% or more day in the overall market, which is insane to me, but it does tell you that reversions in both directions should be in play when we have that kind of a circumstance.
Oh yeah, and I'm looking for the reversion here, Neil, as well. GM breaking below that 50 pretty nicely, so holding that downtrend pretty aggressively. I was not part of it. Oh boy, there's some sellers on open there, and Alphabet as well, pulling back in and holding some of its range lows here as of right now. So wow, that's an aggressive bid on open. We know how well that $3 mark was defended a couple of days ago. Seems like we're seeing a little bit more of the same, maybe some turbulence on top of that $3 level here. S&P 500, bit of a wiki action with only about 21 seconds for this 15-minute candle to print, Neil. And again, this is the first 15-minute candle. Look at that wick that's forming, buying it all up, that dip. Nasdaq not as strong in terms of buying on that one there. So GM, I'm going to continue to watch this one here. Open, I'm continuing to watch, and it seems like, am I still, okay, yeah, I'm still in that QS as well. I don't really have eyes on QS too closely as of right now, but it seems like it's still consolidating near its day highs, so might be getting stopped out of that one relatively soon.
Oh
so,
my.
Yeah, let me know in the chat what you guys are trading. I'm more than willing to take a look at some of those.
James Choi coming
What's going on?
legit. Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you, James. I'm going to hit the like. Thank you, Neil Darrett. Thank you, Obi, as well, for keeping this show live for everybody. That's what it's all about. We're trying to cover everything that moves for you. Appreciate you a lot, James. And look, I just saw in the chat, you were asking what are other people looking at? Robinhood down 1.5% and approaching the 100. I mean, it's not exactly at the $100 level, but it's getting pretty darn close. Didn't get into the S&P, but you know what is going in tonight. So effective tomorrow morning, Block goes into the S&P 500. 80. Look, you want to see something that's actually strong in this market? Block is holding higher. This could break that 80 that we thought could happen yesterday. Obviously, it sold most of the day. Good. I think you had a good dip buy there on Block, but the continuation is in the other direction. $80, big resistance when you zoom it out on the daily. Keep an eye on this. I'm literally, I know we're only short, but every time I say this stock, something is looking relatively strong, what happens? I pulled up Amazon. Hey, Amazon's holding up pretty well. It loses a bit. I call up Block. Block is relatively strong. Block just pulled back and lost the volume weighted average price. So you know what? I should put a little bit of a hiatus on right now, because if I pull up a chart, the first thing that happens is it loses the bid, which means, I mean, I'm only short, so I guess that works. But at the end of the day,
it works.
Yeah, but that's so crazy. Like, Amazon was literally holding the support, Obi, and the second I went to show this to everybody, it lost the bid.
Support, yeah.
Block was at the highs. The second I tried to show it to you guys, because I wanted to go to Robinhood, because you asked about it, it loses the bid as well. Yeah, obviously at this particular point, this market is headed southbound. Hold on to your butts, hold on to your shorts. I don't know what's really strong out here. I suspect when you have this kind of a move where the ES is not, it's not falling all over itself and it's only flat, there's going to be some relative strength out there, probably some rotational stuff. Maybe check out like healthcare, or check out some boring stocks. I wonder how, like, what's Walmart doing on a day like today? I'm doing this for myself. But see, in my brain, Walmart should be, okay, Walmart doing pretty well. So there's some strength in Walmart. I guess that means Costco's probably up as well. So that could be another good one for you. Just want to quickly give you guys the target here on Rigetti, because I think it's pretty clear. Go out to a daily chart on Rigetti. About 15 to 15, 10 to 15, whatever, 15 teens. You're going to find the last support level. So I think you're pulling back in a prior high on Rigetti. I know it's got a wide gap in it, but it's right in around this 15 area that I'm looking to cover on mom spaghetti, knees weak, arms heavy, all that kind of good stuff. Obi.
Yes, sir. So, guys, Beta Pro by Global X. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily levered ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Oh boy, this open, is this open door? Maybe, I don't know. 319 is the 317, is the day low currently, and the Nasdaq continuing to push lower, man. Oh my God, sellers coming in pretty aggressively on these here names. Where is QS? I'm looking for that VWAP. That VWAP coming in at $11.96. Let's see if we can get down into there and open.
VWAP on mine.
Yeah, I think it's almost at that VWAP.
Okay.
It's hovering right on there. Mine's a little bit different. Again, coming in with that volume and data for all the way from the 4 a.m. open as well. But regardless, market's taking a bit of a pullback here. I'm watching GM. I'm watching open as well. Curious to know what you guys are watching. And yeah, don't forget, we also have this stock leaderboard as well. So please, first of all,
I am shocked at those two on the top of the list.
I gotta refresh it, of course. And then I want to see you guys post it up in the chat, $, and then the letters of the ticker that you want to vote for. And don't forget, if you guys can't vote, probably not subscribed, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the like as well while you're at it. Thank you very much. And here we go. Populating are these names. KSS is number 1. Open coming in at number 2. Hello, APLD and Lucid. Those are also coming in, so make sure you throw it up in the chat. Guess what? I'm going to also throw in a couple of mine as well. So of course, I'm gonna do open. I like open as well, and then I think I'm gonna vote for GM. I like GM. Obviously, that's not really on the list. And wow, there's that HTOO as well. GME on the block, NVIDIA, Palantir, NIO, DJT, and GME as well. Interesting. So we'll let that one cook. We'll let that one come in. So make sure you guys vote on all of those things, and hopefully we will take a quick look at them a little bit after here. GM pulling back, it seems like maybe poised to make some more lows.
You know what I'm most happy
to give it a couple
about?
tries. What's up?
Pulling the plug on the long, you can like something, and look, I liked Amazon in here at the prior high, and I was in it, and I was willing to add to it at 230. But the second I said there's a big seller on Amazon, like I punched out, it retested the high. So it looked foolish at the time, but my goodness, has this market ever started to come back in? And you've got to be able to be patient about it. You go from one station to the next, 228 and 226 are the next big levels. I'm still in the mode that you could have some mean reversion because the market's been relatively quiet as overall. So I think they were going to get a pretty decent bounce in here. Someone just said, Neil, I guess Tesla, Palantir is headed to 145 before it heads to 155. That's what the pattern suggests. But I just wanted to point out that I was answering a question with regards to which one I thought would happen first. The actual trend support on Palantir is at $140, not at $145. That was just the question that was asked in the chat. And I said, I think it's going to 145 before it gets back to 155, but it's 140 that's trend support. I can't fathom us getting there today, but if we do, I'm going long. I was going to make that a lot longer-winded, but if we go to 140, I'm going long.
Oh my God! Have you seen AMD?
Have you seen KSS?
I'm looking at KSS. Hold on one second. What stock is that again? No, I'm joking. Is it all the way back down? Yeah, look at AMD. That's an aggressive sell. A little unusual coming in. These chips again. Chip sector pushing in to the bid pretty aggressively off of the open. I'm seeing NVIDIA, wow, all the way back down to 165s, continuing to flush is this Nasdaq as we trade lower and lower. Nice short there on Rigetti, Neil.
Rigetti already got to $15. I guess we're out of that one. This is, the market is red. Oh, I hit the wrong, that's the bad bear. I'm just there. I gotta hit the good one. See, you know how I don't even know why I still have the old it's, you know what, that's the new bear, the first one where I'm wearing that ridiculous hat and everything. So we keep it out there for fun. But wow, this market is falling. I said I was getting out in front of 15 on Rigetti that supported, but the 15 teens, it's still breaking down. What's weird is open hasn't broken 3. I want to make sure we get the heck out of $3 if that starts holding on open door, because this one is also flushing. Hold on to your butts, hold on to your shorts. This market is absolutely tanking. For those that were saying maybe the Fed could tank us, well, I don't know. Powell didn't really say anything that was that crazy. Yet here we are. Adara.
I'm not seeing anything right now in AMD, guys. I always like to provide an update. I looked into it. If anything, people are actually really bullish AMD on X. So really unclear as to why this sell-off is happening, though sometimes we do get the news a couple minutes after the fact. Of course, I am keeping my eye on it. And if there are any changes, I will let you know immediately. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Oh, actually.
Thank you very much, Adara.
There you go. So $3 coming in here on open. So yeah, let's throw on a bit of a filter there so you guys can see it slightly better. I think there's about 4,000, 6,000 lots on the bid there. 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I'm not the best at quick maths, but it seems like 6,000 to 7,000 lots sitting on that $3 mark here. As we push in a little bit lower, market tailwind definitely pulling in as well. Seeing QS, oh boy, is that going to push a little bit higher as well? So I want to piece off of a little bit of that one. I was only looking for a reversion down into VWAP, and it seems like it gave that to me. So I don't want to ask for too much more. There's the $3 break on open, Neil. Oh boy, almost at the club with a $4 ticker. And yeah, I don't have any sort of significant size on this, which is pretty bad.
Well, the troubling thing with that is it was a bit of a ways away from the $4 level. I was sort of look, I'm in the same boat, and I was certainly thinking the exact same thing. The $4 level, when it came in, like your entry was off the 3. It was underneath 390, and that's pretty much all you were able to get off of what was an obvious $4 level yesterday and another one in here today. I'm trailing this back through 3 at this point, and if we lose 280, $2.60, if I'm following, that's an obvious out for me in front of 260. So I'm not moving the trail just yet, but I'm going to get a bid down. In case we get a crazy spike down, I'm not really sure why we're not halting, but crazy movement in this market. We're now, we actually got to 1% almost on the Nasdaq down and actually bounced a little bit there. So we are getting somewhat of a bottom being formed. And the first place I'm looking is Amazon. It's a little bit better than the market. I know it's not quite at the 226, but it's still around that 228 level. And then the one thing I'm going to do is pull up a minute chart here. Oh, just trailed out of open as it came back through 3. And you're probably still hopefully. Yeah, I think I just made the top wick on a trail out for open just there. That was a really, wow, what kind of execution was that? I got slipped to 6. I got slipped to 6 on a retake of the 3 level.
The 06s?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. This thing, the way the thing is ripping around, but yeah, with the amount of liquidity this thing has, it's crazy to slip that much. But when it moves a few pennies at a time, 3 to 4 pennies at a time. So I do want to be wary of that. That $3 holding up once again pretty well, and QuantumScape as well holding that $12 level. So maybe those buyers that are coming in right off of the open holding up a little bit higher. We'll see. We'll wait. I did cover a decent chunk here on both QS and open. It seems like that GM stopped me out. I was not watching it too closely. Let's go back and take a quick look at it here. So stopped out, going back into some of those levels here, but catching a little bit of maybe some turbulence in and around this $49.50 level. Current day low coming in at 49.28, 20 pennies above the lows on GM. Where will the bid catch? Nobody knows, but we'll wait and see. The market bid may be catching as well. That first 15-minute candle on the ES, what a fugaze on that one. I was like, oh boy, we got a strong bottom wick. Buyers stepping in on the first 15-minute. Let's see if we can see that strength. Guess what?
And
Wasn't
we're still
there.
selling.
Sellers step right back in, maybe using that as a little bit of liquidity as well. But what do I know? I'm just watching these TQs tank to the downside here. 85.70s currently on the TQs, and yeah, Nasdaq coming into 2,300, almost about 120 points away from that one there. $3 reclaim on open, holding still, I guess technically still higher highs, and higher highs on the larger time frame. We're looking at some of these sector funds as well, and I'm seeing distinctly different today, Neil, is XLV and XLP. So consumer discretionary and health sector may be catching a little bit of a bid. And it's funny that XLE as well. So those three sectors with a strong bid, utilities as well. Yeah. We'll be right back with Sector Watch. They're happening now.
As we sometimes have it, we actually got these Richmond Fed composite numbers coming in a little bit early, about 10 to 20 seconds before they were supposed to, coming in at -20 for the Richmond Fed composite index. That is well below the forecast of -2 and the previous print of -7. No more economic data today, though. At 11 a.m., we'll have Donald Trump greeting the president of the Philippines. They'll be having a bilateral meeting shortly after at 11:15 a.m. on his schedule. We'll also get, I guess, a talk between OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and new vice chair for supervision, Michelle Bowman of the Federal Reserve. So that could be an interesting talk. Nasdaq just trying to push lower here. Worth noting, I just got some comments coming through or reports here. Apparently Microsoft is accusing Chinese hackers of exploiting SharePoint. In case you guys missed it, there was a breach there over the weekend. So they're blaming that on Chinese hackers. KSS and OPEN, two of the biggest stocks to watch in terms of names that just gave up their early strength in these squeeze plays. Congratulations to Obi, who was involved in the OPEN short. KSS currently, though, basically at its low of day. Tons of earnings names to watch out for. Here is GM. We also have PM. Nice little, I guess, push here off of the lows for PM. There's some defense plays as well, like Lockheed Martin and RTX, which also reported. So tons of day one's earnings today. Even if you guys are still waiting for these tech names, that doesn't mean there aren't some other opportunities. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content as we send you back to the guys.
Well, it's one day you want to only be short. CRCL down 6.5%. The bleed is real. NVDA down 3%. That chart is insane. Advanced Micro Devices is now back to being Advanced Money Destroyer, down 4% as it's absolutely flushing. I can tell you, Open's bouncing back. I might get to that one off of VWAP in a quick little second, but my goodness, Amazon does want 226 after all. After all of that, Amazon could end up back at the 226 level. I'm not seeing a reason to hit the buy key. Nothing yet. If you like a dip by price, you don't have to just sit there taking it and averaging in and all that nonsense. You can just wait when a market is this heavy. And if we get back to that big key 226 level we bought it yesterday, then fine and fair enough. I have no issue with that. Open, I got slipped. Like I said, I got a little bit of slippage on that 3 retake, but it could come right back. And I'm looking at essentially VWAP, but also around the 350 area. I think you want to play some of the tape here, not get anchored to, hey, it's just going to go to VWAP and turn around. I don't think it'll be that simple with a stock like this, but let's let it go a little bit further. Kohl's still, it's catching a bit of a bid. All right, I want to go to a daily chart to see where this pulled back to. Right, not quite to $12.50. Kohl's, if you're just tuning in now, did a ridiculous squeeze and then lost it all at the open. Tried to go into a halt, which I was actually going to take, and I was in the long at the halt band, and I put a stop in. If you're wondering, it got me out automatically. If I had to punch that manually, I probably would have got rinsed. But the second it ticked 1 penny lower than the halt band, I was essentially out of that stock, which is exactly why you do that. But it's catching a little bit of a bid here. $12.50 was that level on the daily. Seems like that's where it was able to catch that particular bid. And there's strength out there in the market, everybody. I know the market continues to fall. NIO's up 5%, continuing its turn. So the Chinese EV maker looking very, very fantastic. Circle, it's not there yet. Brother Howard said Christmas tree sale on Kohl's. That's absolutely correct. It was Sharif's right kneecap in the chat.
Wow. Okay.
That's an actual name in the chat.
We got a lot of parts. Yeah.
Circle is not at the level yet. I believe it is $190 is the anchored VWAP on Circle from the low. So it's got about $7 to go. If it gets to 190, will also be short sell restricted, meaning the uptick rule will be in effect. It'll be down over 10%. So it's 190. This is the short I didn't get. We got open short, got Rigetti short, but the Circle trade. You can only get so much at the open. When you're sometimes you're trying to short a pop, there's only a few things that give you the entries, and to sort of weasel your way into Circle would have been tough for me. But 190 is what I'm looking for at this particular point. Just got to be patient. Amazon 226 is a big level. We saw some liquidity there yesterday and the day before, so I'll wait till it gets to that price. And same thing with Circle. Market's in a downward trend. If you're holding on to stuff, fantastic. I'm just going to circle back to Rigetti, pun not intended. That's not even bouncing. It's still exactly where it was when I got out. So no move yet. No next move yet for me. Just a couple of good shorts early, and that's it.
Yeah, no, those shorts coming in and off of the open were absolutely solid there. Neil, open coming in with that strong flush, bit of a continuation from yesterday. So this is what we were talking about in the pre-market session. Are we going to see more of the same? And guess what? We did, with a bit of market confluence as well, but ripping all the way back up. I only have the last breadcrumb left from these highs, but we're pretty much vacuuming all the way back up on open here. So yeah, back through the opening price is $3.39. Wow, we're halting up, Neil. Halting up at $3.69. Oh boy, I'm glad I only have a breadcrumb. So we'll see where this one opens up afterwards. Absolutely wild.
Did you see the size on the bid? The size on the bid was the top two gateways had 1 million displayed as that went into an up halt on open, which is completely insane. Just a very quick note here, the market is trying to bounce back pretty decently. My eyeballs are on a potential trend break on Amazon, but I just look over at some of the other cohorts, like NVIDIA, topping tail candle at 166. At least that's what it's looking like. Like, we just had a decent bounce. You're looking for follow through, and instantly the first even dollar that it runs into, and you're seeing a wall of selling. Guess what is, there's Amazon looking for the trend break there. But the dead one, what is dead may never die. And I am now $1 million for $1 million, where I try to point out a stock that has been holding relative strength, and the second I pull it up, it starts losing the bid. Like, are you kidding me? This was holding above the pre-market highs, Apple, just now. And then all of a sudden, the second I bring it back up, it's right back into the volume weighted average price. But a double bottom on Apple at yesterday's lows at 212. It's above VWAP, which makes it stronger than pretty much everything else out there in the market. So if you're looking for some strength, I think that's where you can find it for sure. But I think this could be our opportunity. The market's starting to come back down in. Amazon, not really breaking trend. I'd have to pivot to Apple. Apple's kind of strong here, Opes.
Apple's holding up quite well. Market, taking a bit of a breather here from that selling. Start of this 15-minute candle. How much time is left? Okay, this is not. Okay, no, 7 minutes. Almost 7.5 minutes left for this 15-minute candle to finish printing, and it's starting off with a little bit of a bid. I'm still watching this open to see when it'll open. Last halt, the price was at 10:05.33. So let's see if we open at 10:10.33 on open. Be right back from the dare.
Keep an eye here on CHWY. I'm just seeing apparently this one is Morgan Stanley's top mid-cap e-commerce pick with a $50 price target, currently trading around $38. Likely a note from this morning, but either way, just saw this on social media now. Maybe keep an eye on Chewy. Apparently, Morgan Stanley's top mid-cap e-commerce pick with a $50 price target. Back to you.
Ooh, oh my.
What's going on?
There's some What a pullback here. I just looked over. Google got to VWAP almost all the way to the volume weighted average price. This market is on a bit of a charge back. I did pivot to bidding in front of Apple at the volume weighted average price. It bounced exactly off of 213. There was a consolidation there. I'll play this one off of VWAP in the 213 level. It's green when the market's red, so there's relative strength. And I'd be out of this. This is not a hold till the low of the day. If this decides to flip, it can get pretty nasty. And what are the chips doing? Not a heck of a lot. Amazon's now starting to break the trend. It hasn't closed above the trend line, but I'm starting to get into the habit of weaseling into half as it's starting to break the prior bar in the trend line and then taking the other half of the position after it's closed above the trend. It doesn't change where I'd stop it out. I still stop it out at the prior bar. So now all of a sudden you've closed above. That gives me the cover to take the other half. And it also gives the option of, well, do I want to give it to this tight prior bar now, which technically would be the trade, or do I still give it more room? And I didn't even get that fill. Don't want to chase it too far. We'll get half now and half later. Kind of like a shady deal. It's like I watch way too much of The Wire. Oh, goodness, I got to rewatch that show. But so Amazon breaking trend, the market's trying to get back to the upside in here. If it gets to VWAP, I would be more than thrilled the way that we're selling off. Open is still not open back up, but that'll be in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you gotta wait for that one there. Again, 33s should be, if it's a 5-minute halt, and the market coming in with a bit of a bounce here as well. We'll be right back from Madeira.
Yet another play with a decent short float that's making a move this morning. CHGG, this is Chegg Inc. I couldn't find any news on this one. They do have, though, as I mentioned here, short float pretty decent, about 10.5%. So CHGG, about $1.50 stock right now. Nice little push to the upside for this one. Certainly no shortage of these smaller cap or retail favorite plays today. That is for sure. Back to you.
No question. And remember, for all the retail traders out there was a note this morning, or at least overnight, that FINRA is considering lowering the minimum for the PDT rule from 25,000 to 2,000. I don't know any time frame where that could happen, but certainly I think that could be a big one. Unfortunately, the market doesn't seem to the market's going to the downside, so probably none of the names affected are doing anything. Open, well, we're not going to get a chance to short 4 again. Let's just leave it at that. It opens up and could go into a down halt almost instantly. Yikes. The backside of this trade seems like it's firmly in. I thought we could go all the way back and even retest this $4 area to go back into the short. But let's see what happens next. I just want to quickly go back over to Amazon, which just goes first leg. Where is I thought I put an order in front of 228. Apparently I did not. So I'm going to get that in. I'm just going to even sit in front of VWAP. And when VWAP's up here, and we had pre-market lows legitimately at this 228.6, like I'm probably going to get out of this at the 228.5. It just doesn't feel like an all-the-way recovery type of day to me. Be wrong about that, but we're just trying to pick our spots here. Waited for this to break the trend line, got in a bit early, added to it, and we'll see if we can get to that volume-weighted average price. What else are you guys looking at here? Because I'm telling you, there's no shortage of movement in the market.
Oh, yeah.
As the market bounces, I just got filled on Apple in front of 13. So what was strong, did that just go relatively weak on me? Interesting. So rotation back in other names, and this could lose VWAP? Yeah, and it just did. I had my stop in place. I didn't even have to hit a key there. We're long, giving it to the volume-weighted average price. So oddly enough, the second the market catches a bid, I just want to quickly show you how strong Apple was relatively, Apple's starting to lose it. All right, well, Amazon worked. We were 1 for 2 on the longs apparently here with Amazon working, and Apple all of a sudden deciding it's not going to be any good. Riri Jordan, this is a great question. Why did open pause like that? It went into a volatility halt. So if any stock, it trades Nasdaq, New York, and the U.S. markets, and most markets have some kind of a mechanism, if it moves too big of a percentage, usually 10%, depending on the price. If it's under $1, then the halt bands are a little different. Within a certain amount of time, too fast, it goes into what's called a pause. And it's essentially just a pause halted for volatility reasons. It's either 5 minutes. If longer than 5, it'll be 10 minutes. It's all in order so they can have an orderly auction to have proper price discovery because it's going too crazy too quickly. It happened yesterday to the downside when it lost a bid, and then of course as it just bounced here, you had another volatility halt here on open. I'm gonna get to some of these super chats, and we've had a bunch of them, and a big one. Thank you so much, James Troy. That was very, very, very kind of you. David Tresiak, over under on if open halts in the next 15 minutes. I think we all thought it would. Obviously it did, so everybody would have won that bet pretty easy. IKH, I don't know, I can't pronounce this name, and I'll probably butcher it if I try. You bought puts at the top when you said big seller on Amazon, thank you. And Vanilla Man in America, KO with a strong bounce off 68, 69, why not? And one of the reasons why, like whether we're in trades or not, part of what we do here at TraderTv Live, I'm just telling you what I saw. Like if I was convicted enough, I think I would have. Like I could have shorted Amazon up there. It looked like it was a strong buy. I'm going to go back to my 3-minute chart, and I like longs in Amazon. But if you have level 2 access and you watch enough tape, all I can tell you, it was obvious. Someone was holding $230 in the pre-market, as you can see on a line. It then retested it, looked like it was going to be a breakout. I had an order to stop long and stop breakout to the long side. And right when that came in, there was a huge seller that dumped it. It tried to regain. And sometimes you can just sort of see it very obviously on the tape. And as I say that, resistance just came in at the 3/4 mark. So I'm see if I can get 70. I just want 72s out there. And if I'm going to offer in the 80s and I see selling come in there, I'm just going to take that next leg out. This is a mean reversion trade into a weak market. Like the market trying to make a bit of a bounce. Do I think we can recover some? Sure. But I don't want to bet the trade that we're going all the way for a V-shaped recovery. So hopefully this can get us to the volume-weighted average price. But at this point, it can't turn into a losing trade. I'm going to tighten up my stop from prior bar. I should be giving it at least to the entry on the last little bit, which will oddly enough be right at 227. So just underneath break even is where I want to give this trade to.
Yeah, I'm seeing that circle. I covered pretty much everything on that one as we did halt up, pulled back down. Sorry, open, not on circle. But the market catching a little bit of a bounce here. Don't know if this GM is really going to work out as of right now. Still holding, teetering above that day low, Neil. But at Alphabet, strong bid coming in now. Amazon as well, maybe breaking some prior bar highs. On the 15-minute is what I'm talking about, after selling off pretty aggressively. Wow, a low of 226.5. So it seems like it was just yesterday we were observing that 226 level, Neil. The TQs also bouncing pretty nicely. NVDA with a day low of 164.59, currently trading at 160, just shy of 167, only about 10 pennies away from that one. So yeah, catching a bit of a bounce on this here market. Let's take a quick look at some of these crypto-related names and see what they're up to. All right, Webull sideways, Robinhood. Sure, we sold off of the open, maybe a little bit of a bounce potentially coming in here as well. MSTR, wow, Quadunk to the downside. CoreWeave pushing a little bit higher here, and it seems like we are getting a little bit of an announcement here. Fire drill?
So loud. It's just, you can probably hear it.
That's what it's for.
But we're going to have the monthly fire alarm in the building is going off. So you pretty much, it's just testing. You're going to hear it. Given how open this space is right now, my guess is it might be louder than normal, but it shouldn't take very long. It's just a routine. They do it all the time.
Some of these ETFs that we were talking about, I was like XLP strong, XLV also strong. Those reversions came in quite nice. Almost a 50% reversion here on XLP and almost a 30%, I think, just eyeballing it, 30% reversion here on XLV as well. So the sectors that were pretty strong off of the open, catching a little bit of a bid, a little bit of a sell as the market catches a little bit of a bid. So maybe a little bit of, how do you say, rotation maybe happening.
Really joke.
In the
Steve
markets.
Day
What's up?
in the chat just goes, why don't you have to get in single file and walk outside? Like the old fire drills in school.
Yeah.
My mind immediately goes to Kindergarten Cop when they had the fire drill, because that's a funny movie. What's hilarious, there's a story about this. You know, when the old office, I'm now talking years ago, we were in the top floor of an office building. And so what would happen is, like, I'm a trader on the floor, and the alarm, like a fire alarm would go off, and I'm not making it up. We would send somebody to you shouldn't do this, to the stairwell.
Okay.
To see if other people were going down, and then we'd send them to the window, look down, and just see if anything is happening. Because the market's open, you got positions, and you're trading. Like, you kind of don't.
Do we really need to do this?
And that's where the mentality. And again, this is not something you should do. If there's a fire alarm in a building, and you should get the heck out of Dodge. And I know better now, but when I was younger, like, you're 25 years old, it's like, whatever. Maybe you're having a good morning and you're just being stupid about it.
I mean, we're traders. We're like, okay, we know that this is going off, but let's see what majority of people are doing, and then maybe make our decision off of that. Yeah, it sounds. I don't know. You're saying don't do this. Sounds about right to me, dude.
No,
assess the information, make a calculated risk. I think that's what it is.
It's still not the right decision. I think it's a little crazy.
350 is holding so well here
really
on Open Door. I want to know what you guys are trading, because I know the earnings board was definitely stacked, and some of those names coming in quite nicely as well. I know LMT selling off pretty aggressively. That's catching a bit of a bid. Coca-Cola pretty much sideways. General Motors, oh boy, there it is. It's ring-a-ling-a-ling, school bell a ring.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling, school bell ring.
There you go. See, I know some music.
Shaba. Although he was the first dude to ever get canceled with Shaba Ranks.
Was it?
Look it up. Yeah, he was straight up canceled. Reggae artist from Jamaica. Look, we're gonna go to Adara. I know there's a bunch of small caps we haven't talked about. Good time to do so now.
Unfortunately, Neil, there's no way I'm going to be able to cover all of them, because a lot of them are literally giving up the move as I'm pulling up the charts, or moving pretty, I guess, in a volatile way. But if you really like these small caps, definitely check out our midday show from 11 to 2. Sharif will trade these very frequently, and he has a great approach to them, so definitely check those out. Here's the IWM. This is super choppy. These first two 15-minute candles, literally a barcode. Let's see what happens here, though. Again, really self-contained, very much range trading here in this $1.50 range for the Russell so far today. TLRY really strong. I also just saw CGC pop up as well. I'm not seeing any articles from Marijuana Moment to explain this move, but either way, keep an eye on these cannabis tickers. Clearly pretty strong today. We also have LNZA. This is LanzaTech Global announcing this morning they've received a £6.4 million grant from the UK government. So keep an eye here on LNZA. And last but not least, we have CHGG. I mentioned this one earlier. Probably one of these small cap tickers that is the most consistent with this uptrend. Good look here for Chegg with a 10.5% short float and no news that I was able to find. Back to the guys. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Very much. That GM breaking through day low. All right, so it was wrong on that one there. Where is the next trade? That's what I'm looking. Yeah, Pug Life saying I'm on the sidelines, not a degen. Yeah, exactly. Good. That's how it should be. Waiting patiently for your setups to show up, and then maybe just being really light until they do. If you do want to participate and take stabs at things, or take practice trades or reps, that dynamic sizing definitely something I got to do a little bit better with as well. But it's starting to get there, Neil. Trying to be the most size on some of the best trades can be a little difficult, but once you've started to track them a little bit better, things can start seeming a little bit more clear as well. QuantumScape actually wicked the high, so I got stopped out of that one. Circle still trading near its lows there. Alphabet maybe trying to catch a bit of a bounce. So Circle, we talked about that 190 being that anchored VWAP area. That's coming right in.
That could happen.
197.70s right now. It could definitely happen.
It wouldn't surprise me, and maybe not today, but it wouldn't surprise me if tomorrow Palantir bounced exactly off $145. 145.06, everybody, as that heads right back into the upside. It gets to the volume-weighted average price and is still going and holding pretty solidly as we speak. I'm just in it. The shorts are pretty much gonzo. I'm just holding Amazon for us to get to 228.5 and see if we can grab that one. And if we can, great. But you gotta keep things in a little bit of perspective. Look at the Qs here. More importantly, look where we're consolidating. Not great. Not necessarily great because it's underneath support from last week on Friday. So when support turns into resistance, that's generally a bad thing. You want it to be the other way around. If we can't break away from this 23.2, at least test up to yesterday's lows, you could be in a bit of trouble. So that's why I'm still taking target here if we can at 228.5 on this bad boy. Nick is saying, look at CoreWeave. Why not? I have circled up on it. Really? Why is CoreWeave so strong? All right, let's do some work, CoreWeave. Yesterday, you had to wait for this to get to $133 where the resistance is. So that's what I'm going to wait for again today. I paid for locates on this. My plan is to, on this end of the trade where it looks like it's trending down, to favor the shorts. Nice double bottom. Congratulations if you got that one long. I'm waiting for a place to revert this. And I guess it has to break at least 131, if not 132, before it gets to that price. Good strong day for CoreWeave. Will the chips go the other direction? That's weird.
Yeah, a little weird there. But trade the pool, guys. With Trade the Pool's swing trading programs, you can get access to up to $40,000 in buying power to trade real shares, not CFDs. You can hold positions overnight, over the weekend, and enjoy limited risk thanks to a one-time evaluation fee. No monthly payments, no hidden cost. Take Vincent, for example. One of Trade the Pool's swing traders. He's already locked in at $23,000 in profits. His top performer, NMAX. He shorted it from April 20th to May 30th and pulled in a whopping $6,777 gain. Trade the Pool is giving swing traders the tools, the time, and the capital to thrive. Scan the QR code and enjoy 10% off with Trade the Pool. Open pulling back in off of that 370 high, so that halt up was a little bit toppy there as we pull right back in. So anybody chasing a push into that halt up, definitely a little out of the money right now. 335s coming in. Market also just consolidating near its lows there as well. So yeah, I've tried GM a couple of times. Sometimes I'm light, sometimes I'm heavier relative to what I'm seeing. But we'll see if this time it'll potentially come in. But if the market's going to take a pullback, again, I'm more than willing to be wrong a few times on this one to give it a proper chance, right? I think we talk about allocating certain portions of your daily risk. That makes sense. So yeah, giving GM a couple, giving myself enough room to give GM a couple of tries, if not a few, as we look for a potential reversion. The short off of the open was absolutely beautiful. Oh boy, right through that $50 mark. That $50 breakdown came in quite nicely, trading 70 pennies lower. Not right away, but a nice grind. It took a few minutes to get down here, but definitely a little bit of a continuation push on GM as it trades a little bit lower here. I'd like to know what you guys are trading. LMT still continuing to curl up a little bit there, so shout out to the longs off of 420 longs, nice. 419.10 was the opening low. Yeah, of course, LMT 420 makes so much sense.
Yeah, of course it is.
Come on.
Who wouldn't make that connection between Lockheed Martin and 420? Just one quick update. Looks like the futures are not really pushing through that level, but I'm out of Amazon. The mean reversion trade, it goes halfway, but once it breaks this consolidation down, held at 228, I'm out of that trade. You're waiting for it to make that trend break, but you're also not, I'm also willing to acknowledge it's still overall higher time frame and downward trend. Not the best looking chart. If we test back down to 226, That's still a big level, but we didn't actually get there. We got to 226.5. So this could break the low, and there's still an area that I'd try it one more time for a long trade. You take what you can get. Like, just take what you get. Try not to be upset that it didn't go the entire way. If you got a long that worked today, I think you're pretty happy with it. Mostly it's been shorts. I thought we'd get a little bit more of a bounce on Rigetti to get back in. On a 15-minute, it held 15.5. I was kind of looking a little bit closer to this wick low. Doesn't end up happening, so I'm not going to rush in. Let us know what you guys are trading. Joe's pink. So, okay, we have Sharif's knees in the chat.
Okay.
And Joe's pinky is in the chat saying, look at H2O America. I mean, H2O is printing. Well, this stock is not printing any volume, I can tell you that much. Although, you know, it will make me drink some water. But it is not printing anything, unfortunately. The volume not looking too good on that bad boy. But hey, you have a creative name, so I'll pull it up, and I have no issues with that. Looks like we got out of Amazon at just the right time. And Mark's Cars, not trying to sleep. We mentioned NEO a couple times, not trying to sleep on it. I'm perfectly happy with what we traded. Rigetti, Open, and Amazon have all looked pretty good and given us good opportunities. But yeah, NEO is still on a tear. This is, I don't know how many days in a row. There's a couple of red days in here since it broke away from the bottom, but it's not yet at that 5.5, 5/3 to 5.5 level on the daily chart where it reversed the last time. Feels like it's got a date with that particular price as it's churning toward the $5 level. You know, it actually looks good for a VWAP retrace, I think. This looks very good for VWAP retrace. The other thing to consider with Chinese ADR is they'll tend to slow down in the middle of the day, especially going into lunchtime. So if you get a pullback into VWAP, that's usually a great time to pick it up down there. I think I would add it to the list in that regard. I already talked about Amazon. Circle is the other one. It's still heading lower. 190 is the price I'm waiting for an opportunity for the reversion long as the market continues to look weak. We haven't made any fresh lows, but at the same time, it's not like we've broken distinctly this downward trend everywhere. A few stocks have, but not participation across the board. Let's go back up to the desk with Adara.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Top One Futures. Are you looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, SPY, or even Bitcoin? Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there. They give traders the chance to manage up to $1 million in capital. Pick your path, instant funded, challenge, or pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. In the last 90 days alone, they've paid out over $10 million and they've earned more than 1,000 5-star reviews from real traders. Use the discount code TTV, that is TTV, to save on any account. Scan the QR code or head to top1futures.com, that is top1futures.com, and start trading towards your next payout. Back to you.
I have. So we were just sort of talking about some names that we were tracking throughout the morning that I wanted to get back to. Block. Now remember, Block being added to the S&P 500, that is effective as of the open tomorrow, meaning this is the last day of trade that it is not part of the index. It's relatively strong, up 1.5%, and it's even got it's not an even dollar break, but 79.5 was resistance at the open yesterday. It's resistance as we speak. Yeah, I'm gonna like Block. This one was on my list, and I said, like, I had it as an over under 80 play, which technically means I should have been shorting in front of it, but given its relative strength now, I don't think that's all that valid. I want to play maybe long into it, into a breakout here for XYZ. And then remember that all day long, anything can happen on the stock. Once it gets in closer to the close, I start thinking about what the imbalance might be and working off that trade. But for now, I'm going to look for a little bit of a breakout. I want to be cheeky long into the 80 so that I don't actually have to take the breakout trade there. So I'm just going to set a stop order so I can look away for a second, because Carson Fellows, I do want to look at HIMS. Seen a lot of people talking about that name, and as I look over, and Open's not giving me a trade, and Circle's not giving me a trade, and Rigetti is not giving me another re-entry. I'm going to get my stop here on XYZ, and then we'll go over and look at HIMS, which I have not looked at in a while. And in case you're wondering, last night in Blue Ocean, because that's what I hit first, it did that. But we don't care about Blue Ocean and overnight, at least not yet. But certainly this is a name which is much, much stronger than the overall market. there's a line that we used to get said, if it doesn't break the low, there's only one place it can go. But there's a better thing. If it does break the low and then breaks the high, then you know it can fly. I actually think it's a better long setup when a stock liquidity grabs like a double bottom like this at the open and then breaks out, as opposed to just holding a level like this. Because you trap shorts, that looks pretty good, but timidly, unfortunately, $52 seems like about as good as you're going to get on any kind of a short-term trade. I was thinking maybe there's a swing bottom on there, but I'm not really seeing it with that resistance. But plenty of room as a day trade to 52. So continuation makes a heck of a lot of sense here in HIMS. Maybe like a 49 break or a pullback into this level, 48.15. Good-looking stock. I love when you get that rinse of the low for long continuation, especially when the market's been so weak, because that just means people were looking for shorts to join, and they probably got burned with HIMS here. I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, no. What I'm noticing, Neil, is like a lot of these stocks that have very strong day ones, or day, if you want to call it day one, like directional price action, where you're opening relatively, I guess, extended from, you're closing relatively extended from the close, so from the open. So you're just like, you open lower and then you close higher, or you open higher and then you close lower, and it's a distinct kind of a trend. So coming into the next day, I'm like, okay, well, sellers were dominant yesterday, or buyers were dominant yesterday. Let's see if we see more of the same. And more often than not, what I'm seeing in this specific market, Neil, is it's about, it's all over the place. More often than not, I'm seeing that on the ones that are super directional, you're going to see an aggressive push. And we saw that happen on, what was it? Was not QuantumScape. There was one of the stocks that I was watching, and we got a full-on reversion coming in right off the open, and I think that was QS, maybe? Yeah, it was QS. Yeah, so let's pull up QS and take a quick look at that one here as well. It seems like this one may be trying to work here. So we'll kind of push into that one. But yeah, let's go. Where is QS? Right here. So QS, you can see aggressive push right off of the open. And I was like, okay, where are you going? Why are you running? And yeah, not looking distinctly different from what it was doing yesterday. What was it doing yesterday, you may ask? Let's pull it up and take a quick look. Oh boy. Coles with the reversion, probably one of the best reversions on the day. I missed out on that one there. Got to get good. But yeah, open pulling back into that $3 mark as of right now, Neil. But we're looking at QS. So let's take a quick look at QS. So this is what I'm talking about. Strong action on the day, pretty much selling off relatively lower to the open. So I'm like, all right, sellers are definitely dominant. But coming in off of the open, even though we trickle down in the pre-market below prior day's low, look at the aggressive bid that just comes in and slaps higher, sure, back into prior day's range. So it's like, yeah, if you're looking for that continuation coming right in off of the open, that's pretty aggressive as well. So yeah, it's a good example. I think Circle, maybe distinctly different, as it did give us the continuation. So sellers were in charge day one, sellers were in charge day two. Guess what? Sellers are in charge day three. And once again, Neil, I am not short Circle, here at least, but 200 coming in as of right now, consolidating in and around that 200 is that Circle with a low of 196.45. So, oh boy, what a beautiful continuation this one's been having on the multi-day. So I don't know if have we gone through some of these super chats, Neil?
I think
David,
I got most of them.
Open.
Oh, I missed that one.
David saying open like a new kitten, just need to have a play toy to direct it, and it's predictable. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, okay. So KO, Von Clark. Hate to say it, but look at Faraday Future's FFIE. Now that's a name I have not heard in a long time.
It's been a long time.
So let's take a quick look at Faraday Futures and see what that's doing. Here. Is it doing? Whoa, hello. Thank you very much, Von Clark, for pointing this one out. Currently doing almost 17 million shares on the day.
Chart.
It's a charger, right? It is a charger. So I want to see if Plug or ChargePoint are also having a similar sentiment on the day like today. Plug distinctly different. CHPT, how you doing, buddy? Let's see. ChargePoint is gonna load if my chart loads for me. Okay, cool. Charge point, nothing. So it seems like FFAI is where the party's at. So thank you, Vaughn Clark, for pointing that out. We also had Vanilla Man with KO, but we'll be covering that in a little bit.
Well, if you're looking for those types of plays, like Faraday popping up on your scanner, Kohl's this morning, you're going to want a reliable platform, and that's what eSignal is going to give you. And the best part about it, still 1 month free. First month, they're waiving the fees. You can trade smarter, not harder, on an easy and customizable platform. Back test your strategies, deploy every scanner imaginable, trade multiple markets, direct trading through multiple brokerages so you can execute your trades live through the platform. You also have the ability to automate trades through an API. You have level 1 access so you can see the bid ask on multiple stocks. Fantastic platform. I've used it for years, and many people on this floor as well and throughout the company will speak very highly of the platform. But the best part is it's a month free. So you scan the QR code, you click the link in the description, you try it out, try to step up your trading game. Data matters, information is critical as we're making all of these decisions, and eSignal provides you with the best opportunities there. And I still like this breakout eventually on Shopify if it ever happens at 1:30. Probably not today, the way this market is going. But yeah, check out eSignal, and thank you to them for sponsoring that part of the show. And Tesla went ham, because that's what Tesla does sometimes. A big V-shaped recovery on Tesla. Maybe it's going to do us the solid of pulling back into the volume-weighted average price, which also happens to be yesterday's low. Do you know what? 331 is big resistance on Tesla. We could just break that out too. Like it failed 331 the first time. You could just bust through that and go long into 332 on a high break, but I'm not gonna diddle with it in the middle. Either it's retaking the highs above 331 or we're waiting for the volume weighted average price over there. Block is going to break any second now, and if this market is bouncing, then Rigetti is nowhere near VWAP. I kind of figured if the market was bouncing, Rigetti would be at a resistance level that I could trade, but it's not. This one is nowhere near where I wanted the entry. Unfortunately, so I'm just going to start scanning for some other opportunities. NVIDIA is at the volume weighted average price. That looks pretty strong coming into VWAP as opposed to weak. What is AMD saying? AMD is also looking strong above VWAP in this moment. So that's not really looking like much of a short either here, Obi. I'm looking for something that I could fade with the market at the volume weighted average price.
I mean, I can't see too much into the future here, but thank you to Vaughn Clark for pointing out Faraday Futures. And if you're looking for something to fade, I think some of this aggressive buying that's coming in, we can just be patient for that to kind of start to step off. But before that, let's see what's going on with the rest of the market with Sector Watch, guys.
It's pretty interesting because the Nasdaq is down in the day, as we know well, but you wouldn't necessarily guess that weakness if you looked at non-tech sectors. So I'll start with those. Finance, great look. Berkshire Hathaway, which has been pretty beat up since we had the announcement that Warren Buffett was going to retire and step down. It's actually up 1% today. Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America also strong. Eli Lilly leading the health technology sector to the upside. Consumer non-durables doing pretty well except for the two earnings names in this sectors. That would be Philip Morris and Coca-Cola. Producer manufacturing a bit more mixed here. Consumer services pretty green. Utilities green. Communication great look here. We'll get both AT&T and T-Mobile reporting tomorrow morning. Transportation looking pretty good though, as is retail trade with the exception of Amazon, and that brings us into the notable tech weakness. Electronic technology, big downside moves at NVIDIA, Broadcom, A&D, Micron, then of course LMT as well to the downside on earnings, though it's bounced really nicely off the lows. Technology services also a bit of a sore spot here for this market. Oracle, Palantir, Netflix, Meta, all red, though some other names are like Adobe and CRM actually green. So overall, not a great look for tech. Pretty good look if you're anything else. Make sure to like and subscribe. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. I'd like to see in the chat what you guys are trading, what you guys have been involved with. And don't forget, guys, we still have this leaderboard. So let's take a quick look at what this leaderboard is up to, the stock leaderboard. So far, 63 mentions of NEO, or NIO, however you want to call it. I'm not really judging. Open coming in second place. KSS and NVIDIA fighting currently for third place position as of right now. And don't forget to use the money sign, $, then the ticker to cast your vote here. And oh boy, Fabian, I think you're doing a great job with this, man. It's looking beautiful. Look at that Skyfall and GME 2. Bless you. Palantir, DFLI, Lucid, NVIDIA. Oh boy, we're moving around. APLD, AMD, and Hood. So throw it up in the chat. I want to see some votes coming in. I know there's thousands of you watching, not a lot of votes. So participate, don't anticipate. Cliche. We'll be right back from Adara.
Faraday Future here looking pretty bright. FFIE, earlier today they announced that apparently they're marking their first step into their Web3 finance strategy here through a collaboration with Habit Trade and support from RWA Group. Regardless of the catalyst, great look here for FFIE. We're talking about a 90-cent move here, 90 to 80-cent move from these lows of day, also a 27% short float. It's worth noting this catalyst did not come out during the day. This is actually a pre-market catalyst. So again, the short float here is worth noting. And in case you missed it, 27.2%. Back to you.
Just a huge move up on this. I'm trying to get locates on, well, okay, I've got them. I'm just getting them for Obi on Faraday. A lot of times when I'm looking at this, or when I'm looking at anything of this realm, if you're thinking about any type of a sniper trade, I'll move my time frame as I just did from a 3-minute to a 1-minute to look for it to break in. Because when it gets this steep, I think a lot of times, like if it breaks this channel, it's going to happen really, really fast. And you want to be a little bit faster. So if you see me pull this one up, I might be looking at a different time frame chart. I usually have a 3-minute chart up, but I'll be drawing trends on this stock on a 1-minute as Faraday looks absolutely like it's going ham. All right, Tesla could be pulling into the volume-weighted average price. Another V-shaped potential recovery. Hopefully I don't jinx another stock. Another potential V-shaped recovery. The 145 bounce on Palantir headed towards 150. So this looks like it's, I mean, I want to say it's obviously relatively strong in a sense, but the problem with saying that statement is you'll look and see it's 1.8% down. So clearly it's bounced better than the market from the lows, but we're still down more than the overall market on Palantir. In a general sense, I still believe overall it can be headed toward 140, but the 145 bounce looks pretty distinct. If it holds above 150, it gets more interesting than Tesla for me. But the difference is Tesla got all the way and broke the high. This was an actual V-shaped recovery on Tesla. So I want to look to, as Obi would say, revert the reversion down and go back into the long. Because since this bottoming tail, which is a gorgeous one, this looks like a long. So if we catch a trend break here, that's a 1-minute. I guess I usually want a 3-minute. I'm going to go back to my 3-minute chart. I'm going to look for a bit of a trend break back to the upside on Tesla and join what I think is one of the strongest bounce plays. Already green Tesla is in front of their earnings this week.
All right, so it seems like, I mean, we got 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes left on the show, and you guys have voted pretty decently. I saw it in the chat. You guys were throwing it up. So right now, NEO has taken the lead. You know, NEO, Open, NVIDIA, and Tesla. It would seem like I'm just going to refresh this as well, just to see if actually, I think if I refresh it, does it wipe the whole thing? Nope. There we go. All right, so it's back.
Well, if it did, we'd have found out.
Yeah, we would have found out. We'd be like, oh boy. But no, we remember what they were. NEO, Open, NVIDIA, and Tesla. So let's take a quick look at some of those. Oh boy, $3.05 is the high on FFIE. GM stopping me out multiple times. All right, so if you're going to show me that sellers are still dominant and it's about 10:45, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm gonna pack my patience on that one. Don't need to spend more risk. Shout out to Sharif. Than I really need to on that one. And yeah, packing patience. If there's one man who is showing us who can do it, it is definitely Sharif there. So let's take a quick look at NEO here and what NEO's been up to. Oh boy, okay, all right, so a little bit of a bid. $5 incoming on NEO. Neil, So $5 may be an interesting price when it comes to
Probably
stocks.
a mil on that stock at 5.
So I think if you guys don't already know, I think it's what certain institutions can only transact with certain stocks above $5. Above $5.
It's a big price.
495 is the high right now, and we saw that $5 rejection yesterday on a stock as well. I forget which one that was. Might have been.
What was it? Oh yeah, Open.
Billions of shares traded. Wall at $5. Oh,
The turn just happened on FFIE and I missed it.
interesting.
Look at the fail at $3 on Faraday. Did miss that trade. Let me throw a 1 minute chart up. Like, it made the topping tail candle. I was a little bit greedy. When it did that topping tail, I was trying to get filled too tight to $3. And I should have just taken 94s or 95s instead of trying to get 97. They're just saying that the fire alarm is probably done, is my guess. So Faraday's starting to come back into the downside. Hopefully somebody caught that short. You could see the pretty distinct topping tail candle in there for an opportunity. And as you just said, Obi, pumping higher and losing $5 yesterday was Open. Big level when it gets to $5 for NIO. I'm not saying in any stretch of the imagination that Open and NEO are remotely the same. Like, the manner in which Open got to $5 yesterday is unprecedented, but it's trending into 5 here. If it loses the trend line, then I'd look to revert this. It never pulled back into VWAP, so we didn't get that opportunity, as Tesla's trying to do right now. We didn't get that opportunity, but I'm thinking there's going to be a fade here. So the next trade I'm hunting is a mean reversion, similar to what happened on FFIE, although I would suspect in NEO it'll be a little bit more orderly, everybody. So I'm going to make sure I load up and save my trend line here for NEO. Letting you guys know that's the thing that I'm waiting for. Next, let me know what else you guys are watching. We got about 10 minutes to go in here. Yesterday, there was no lunch because the entire office, the water was off for the entire morning, so the back office wasn't even here, so there was no catered lunch or anything. So we couldn't do the what's for lunch because we all got our own thing.
Yeah. What did you get?
I just grabbed the sub.
Oh, okay, nice.
Like I just wanted to go for a walk. It's not too far.
Yeah, the weather was great. Like I
nice
said,
weather.
the weather was beautiful.
Perfect.
I had some pizza yesterday. I had some Soul's pizza.
Good call.
But yeah, let's see what's going on in the world of money. Money Talks with Adara.
Going around the world of money, unfortunately, is more USD weakness. Here is the DXY. This is now going to be our third straight day to the downside. Every time this starts to get a little bit of a move off of the lows, it then sells off further, makes a lower high. We've been in this sell-off pattern since the start of the year, so it's now about 6-7 months almost of just this USD weakness. Let's see if this ends up reversing. But as of right now, even though this trend line is getting a little bit wider, and we're, I guess, seeing a little bit of a change here in terms of the trend itself, the velocity. The lower highs and lower lows are not changing. Again, we'd have, as of right now, to make a higher low, we'd have to get a push above that 98.5 level. Currently trading around 97, so that seems unlikely today. We did have comments from Fed's Powell earlier. We're going to get Fed's Bowman talking later today to Sam Altman, oddly enough, the CEO of OpenAI. I'll be covering that and let you guys know if there's anything of note happening there. But Donald Trump is expected to do a meeting at the same time, so I'm going to try to cover both these events as best I can and provide you guys with any updates that might be moving the market. Back to you.
Thank you, Dara. And just very quickly, right away, just as we were going to Adara, XYZ square block. All right, so I just bounced off the volume weighted average price almost cleanly. 79 is adjacent to where it is. It's like a couple of pennies above the volume weighted average price, but started to find sellers right at 79.20. It's been very range bound the last couple of days since the announcement that it's going into S&P 500 effective at the close tonight. So you'll see this in the S&P tomorrow, 79.5. Clear range, so long here to the $0.50, and I think a breakout above that for now. If it loses the bid, you wait till the bottom, which, I mean, arguably 77. You can make an argument about 77.5. Patience. I will favor, in the afternoon, I'll probably favor looking for the long if there's a buy imbalance. It's a New York stock, so we'll get early indications as to what the imbalance is looking like, if there is any over on Block. So we're long off VWAP there. Tesla's not at volume weighted average price yet. And then NIO is on the warpath to $5 and just continues to trend higher and higher and higher. If it gets to 5 and fails, that's where I want to catch a little bit of a turn. You know what? We didn't even talk. There's all this strength in some of the Chinese ADRs in particular, as Sharif says, China.
Since the beginning of the year. Honestly, like, have you seen FXI?
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? Well, like we're just trending up on FXI, and these ADRs, of course, following in step. The bid is definitely there.
Well, I'm looking at BABA here. It's just straight up consolidating at 120. Like it regained the 200, regained the 50. If you were to do the thing that I like to do, which is draw a trend line from the high, well, look at what's happening as we speak on Alibaba. It is trying to break above this trend line. The second you break out around 123 here, you're effectively taking out that trend line. Closing above 120 looks pretty good as well. So, some of these Chinese ADRs looking very, very good. Obviously, NIO and BABA have nothing to do with each other outside of the fact they're both Chinese companies, but BABA's one that I'll usually trade. And I see this breakout looming. Got to make sure. I'm going to put this one on my iPad, and if I don't do it now, then I'm going to forget. So I'm just putting BABA. And that'll remind me to do something and put a number next to it, which will just be 123. And then I'll put trend line next to that. And that'll remind me to set some kind of alert on that bad boy. So obviously we're watching NIO here. HIMS is making a bit of a run, apparently. AMD. The worst chip name this morning that I saw anyway, in that flush we had at the open, was AMD. And it was just program selling. Nobody wanted to be on the bid. $150. What a clean turn. If you're ever trying to catch a mean reversion trade, this candle is what you're looking for. The spike, the initial spike through 150 is the biggest volume candle of the day, and it closes above. That's your signal that the buyers are back in the stock. A lot of times it'll be a little cleaner this entry. I'd argue you might have had to take this a couple of times to go long, but we're running out of steam a little bit here on advanced market devices. I do prefer a little bit to watch some of the stronger names. Like I said, Tesla, looking for it to break this trend or bounce off VWAP, V-shaped recovery there. That's a better continuation play for me. And then Block, we're playing it into the high. It's halfway there now.
Yeah, I kind of like this idea on NIO. So you know what? Might as well put it to work as
you already
as we say. Sorry, what was that?
You're already short? Oh no.
I'm starting a little bit of a dabble here on top of or against that 5. Let's see if that potentially comes in. Going to keep it relatively tight. Willing to give it multiple attempts as well. But yeah, a little anticipatory. Let's see what potentially comes in on this one. GM, I got involved a couple of times, and then the last time, I remember I was like, okay, well, the sizing can be definitely a little different. I was pretty aggressive on that last one. It gave me like 10 pennies. I'm in the last little bit of that one. I was probably the most aggressive on this current entry, but I've taken out most of it already as it's just consolidating, churning within the range. I'm just like, all right, well, if it's going to do more of the same, I'm just going to take this 15 penny range and walk away from it. NVIDIA and the chips definitely taking a little bit of a bounce here, Neil, finally coming in with a bid. So let's take a quick look at NVIDIA. I know you were just looking at AMD, and oh boy, was that reversion quite nice. 164.59 bounce, and you can see as soon as that selling's done, oh boy, we take a full-on reversion back into VWAP. Sure, a little bit choppy, not that clean, but comes into fruition. So price action, definitely my king. The market, the queen. Yes. So gotta respect the royalty here.
That's the first time I've ever heard. I like that.
So, price action's my king, the market's my queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And I'm married to the market. The king might not be too happy about that.
You just make that up now?
Yeah. We're doing it live.
Well, I don't know, man. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. You can say whatever you want to say.
What do you mean? We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live.
Oh, that's grand theft.
We're doing it live.
That's for this show and this show only.
What do you mean?
First of all,
it comes from that, what's
come
his
on,
name?
man.
Yeah, we started doing
That
it.
Bill
newscaster.
O'Reilly.
Was it Bill O'Reilly? Yeah.
Yeah,
Where he like spazzes out. He's like, I can't read the teleprompter. That's not what it says. He's like, I'll do it. I'll close it off. And he's like, we'll do it live.
Do it live.
Do it live. And then at the end, the best part is the way he like, loosens up his tie, like throws, whatever. He's like, yes. I was like, let's.
You got to.
Good.
And first of
So
all,
we're doing it live.
Taking lines from other people and using them, it's like it's a form of flattery. Speaking of stealing things, I'm hungry. And there's no food at this desk right now because I've pretty much eaten everything except for my apple.
This is a banana.
But I am happy to announce we actually get lunch today. And
So
what do we have for lunch?
What's for lunch, Neil?
Black pepper beef,
Oh boy.
steamed jasmine rice, garlic bok choy, Asian slaw salad, and fortune cookies.
Okay. Nice.
So of that, I'm going to get a salad, which I have no idea what's going to be on it, but I will definitely steal a fortune cookie. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna save a couple fortune cookies for the show, and
Oh,
we're
we
gonna
can
we're
open
gonna
them on the
open them, and then you guys can see what my fortune is or our fortune is, and we'll see how accurate it is as well.
I like that.
I give it about a 50-50. That's usually,
A 50-50 that'll be accurate.
no 50-50. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I give it
50-50. If it has a high, 50-50 probability, but if the R to R makes sense, maybe it's worth taking.
That's fair enough. Hey, we just got a super chat in here at Shaolin. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to point out, look, XYZ was a VWAP to resistance. It's clear as day, the resistance. If it tries to break out 79.6, I still want to take that long, but I'm going to get back on the bid here. And just if it continues to do this trend, I am favoring longs on this today as it's going into the index tonight. What about Tilray? First of all, hit the like, and thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate all of our community. You don't have to send us super chats, but we appreciate when you do, and we'll certainly answer your questions to the best of our abilities. That being said, that's the other one. I guess it probably hit the other. I have no idea if it's up or not. That would have sucked if I hit that key and it was down 15%. But it's up 15%, so there you go. The other day, was it 2 days ago? Or was it last week? Whatever. It might have, sorry, was it Friday or was it yesterday? I feel like it was Friday, the last time we talked about this. Tilray is making this break for 90 cents. It's above that 75-cent level, so thank you for pointing it out. Strong name. I'd like to see a little bit better volume on this move, but that was a good breakout at 75. That's the level to watch. I think as long as it holds 75, there's something here. I don't know where the volume has gone, but it is 11 o'clock, so you'd expect volume to slow down at least a little bit here. Could be a name that gets traded on the midday if the volume picks up, because Sharif 100% needs more small cap names to trade. He does not have enough.
Bring it up.
Clearly, he needs a few more here or there. So I think we can add Tilray to that list. Thank you so much, Shaolin, for the super chat. We'll be back at 2 o'clock, everybody. But right for now, you've got the professor, you've got Joey options. Go get them, boys.